All right, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're at. We are glad you're here, and welcome to Gaming Tonic. I am your host, Just Vince, and I am joined today by my incredible, fantastic co-host, the man himself,
Devin Kronk. What's up, boys? Welcome to another week of the pod. Today we are also joined by the lovely Mr. Rance Priest. How are you doing, sir?
Are you muted? You appear to be muted.
I'm muted, yeah.
Are you unmuted?
Happens.
You're
Yeah.
unmuted. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Excellent. How are you doing today, man?
Well, how are you?
Doing fantastic. Glad you're here. Glad to finally get you on here. I say
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Dude, we've discussed having you on here a couple of times. I mean, you're someone who, like, when Devin and I talked about it, we were like, man, I hope he will apply because I love talking to him. Like, you're someone who we both, like, just enjoy casually conversating with on a regular basis. You've definitely got a way about your speech that's just, like, good to listen to. So I'm very glad you finally got your chance to come on the show. Yeah, and magnetizing, exactly.
Oh,
You've
man.
definitely got that energy about you. So, Devin, what's been going on in the world of Devin Kronk? What have you been up to?
It's been an all over variety type week. As far as streaming goes, I started playing Bayonetta. So I'm playing through Bayonetta 1 for the first time. It's pretty fun.
Awesome.
And then I also started getting back into Pogo Stuck.
Yeah, you have.
This time I'm playing map 2. The harder one.
Absolutely. Let's go,
Map
dude.
to the hardening?
The hardening.
Is that
yes.
really what it's called?
I
No,
hope not.
No. It's called the Monolith of Truth.
Okay.
Or Perseverance, not Truth.
Good God. I was like, there's no way they actually called it that. But, Rance, I know people are excited to see you already, literally only because of your mustache. We've already gotten a question asking, is your mustache real? So for the listeners who can't see it, to be clear, he's got the most magnificent mustache you've ever seen in your life. So you're going to have to go back and watch the VOD on YouTube or on my Twitch channel, just a heads up. So, Rance, is the mustache real?
Yeah. And you can grow one like it too. You just gotta, have a lot of time, sacrifice all the hair from the top of your head.
Yeah.
And commit yourself to never getting a date ever again.
Perfect.
Aww.
Perfect. I mean, worth it, obviously. I mean, it looks worth it from here. I mean, I'm looking at you. I'd rather have your mustache than a date right now, that's for sure. So, I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. I mean, so, Rance, before we get into your week and all that stuff and ask you what's been going on in the world of Rance Prees, just tell the people a little bit about yourself. What got you into content creation? What you love about gaming? What you love to do? Just give us any information about you that you want to share with us.
I am Rance. I do what I like. I started streaming because I used to be a comedian. I would perform on stage.
Nice.
And I'm also a giant nerd, and I wanted to meld those two things. And I thought I like talking a lot to myself as well. So just added a camera and some games to it and thought I could put that in. Currently, I do a Sunday Jimmy Jam with my friend Rachel.
Nice.
It's more live Let's Play than it is live stream.
Mm-hmm.
We still engage with chat, but the main focus on it is banter between her and I, and then there's gameplay on top of it, usually with a narrative one of us plays and the other one watches.
Yeah.
And then I tend to do one morning stream throughout the week as well, where I just kind of relax and play something chill.
Gotcha.
Like Stardew Valley, or thinking about doing some TFT early in the morning.
Nice. Yeah. I've seen a few of my friends actually start streaming TFT lately. They've been really enjoying it. A buddy of mine's been.
It is tough for me.
The new set is tough for you?
Yeah, I'm not feeling it quite yet.
He was actually saying the same thing. I'll say now that you mention it, since we're on the topic of teamfight tactics, might as well. Like legit, he was so thrilled about teamfight tactics for like a couple of weeks after he started getting into it. He was like playing the ranked ladders and all that or whatever, however it works. I don't play TFT that much. I tried it for him because he was having so much fun with it. And he was like, "You're gonna love it," and I hated it. And I'm not gonna try it again. But like. He started playing the new set and he was like, I hate this. I hate this so much. Maybe I just don't understand it yet, but I hate this. And I was like, oh, geez, that is rough. That's rough stuff.
My brain is having some times trying to wrap around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's awesome, man. Again, thank you so much for being on the show. So what have you been doing in the last week with what's been going on in the world of Rants, please, content creation wise, gaming wise, anything like that? Olivia, also thank you so much for the 1 bit and good morning. We're glad you're here. So tell us about it. What's been up, Rants?
This week's actually been pretty quiet as far as content creation goes, one of us was feeling ill on the Sunday, so we didn't do our Jimmy Jam. And then I decided to take that as a week break instead. So I didn't create any content as far as streaming goes, but I've been working on some back end stuff for, I want to add another day or two come later in the summer, maybe July, to the stream schedule, as well as
Nice.
I'm working on a secret business project that I'm
Mm,
probably going to be having rolling by the end of the summer and then kind of hopefully launching winter time. And
wow.
so there will be more on that as the days go by. But right now, it's just that's taking up a lot of my time and effort.
Secret business project. I like
I
it.
want to
Very,
know what's
Business project.
very exciting. Very
you
exciting
piqued
stuff,
my
man.
curiosity.
I say, whenever it is that you end up launching it or deciding to share that with other people, please include us on the list because I mean,
Absolutely.
there's nothing I love more than some good mystery. So I'm 100% here for that. So for me personally, my week has been as many of you know. I mean, if you have interacted with me at all somehow over the last week, and you have found a way to contact me in the midst of my massive World of Warcraft grind, I applaud you first of all, because that has been what most of my week has been. I have been losing sleep and still streaming Smite and playing way too much World of Warcraft, and I am just loving it. I mean, when World of Warcraft: The Burning Crusade came out, and that's what I've been playing. I've been playing on the Burning Crusade Classic server because it just launched on Tuesday. When it came out, I was like 12 or 13 years old. I mean, I was young. I had no idea what I was doing. Like I did not at all understand what in the world was happening. Rance, you're literally here. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. But thank you. You can't sneak that under the rug because I'm emotional talking about World of Warcraft right now. I still caught you. But like I was like 13 years old, and that was like just right when I was really hitting my stride with gaming and really like pushing into gaming and all that stuff for the first time in a big way was when I was about 13 years old, and I still didn't understand everything that was happening. So being able to go back and like see this world that I was experiencing for the first time when I was 13, there was like such a big part of my high school life and stuff like that. Like it's been incredible, like being able to go back and actually appreciate it for what it is now and see how like brilliant a lot of the things that they did with the game and the direction that they took it like was back then during that time, and still being able to appreciate it now. I mean, it's been honestly incredible. So content creation wise, I've been a little slow this week, but World of Warcraft, I mean, I'm full send. I freaking love the game, and
On the full grind.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is what it is. I just can't help it. So
I've been resisting the BC so far. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to resist. I know when Wrath comes out, I won't be able to,
mhm.
because while BC was when I got into WoW Classic, Wrath of the Lich King is actually how I communicated with my younger brother when I was living in Japan.
Wow.
I was living there working, and I had a tiny, shitty laptop, but it could run WoW on all the lowest settings, and I'd still get frame drops. But
Mhm.
we would partner up, and he would basically, take run me through dungeons because he was much better at it than I was,
Yeah.
and carry me through some BGs and stuff. And that's how we kind of hung out while I was there.
And,
Wow.
and that's another thing. Like for me, like World of Warcraft, I played World of Warcraft with my dad. You know, like that was like the biggest thing that we connected on when I was a kid was like being able to like play World of Warcraft with my dad, and we would sit down like he actually like the Christmas before World of Warcraft came out, or it might have been just after World of Warcraft came out. My parents actually bought a second computer so that me and my sister could play with my dad. And I would have played with my sister too if she had any interest in doing things with me, but she always said I was too much of a tryhard and she hated me for it. So, like, yeah, and that is what it is. I mean, it was true. But
She was into the same things, but you just tried too hard at them, or
pretty much, yeah,
Oh.
basically.
At
And
least you liked the same things. My sister
yeah,
hated anything I did.
yeah. But I Coffee Joe also asked, did you play EverQuest 2 at the same time? I did play EverQuest 2 and EverQuest 1, and as well as Guild Wars. The only game that I never really got too heavy into was RuneScape. So that was a little bit of MMO history for that period of my life. But yes. So, and did y'all want to add anything else about your weeks before we move on to the news section? I want to give you another chance to throw something else out there if you got it. But
I think I'm good.
chilling.
Yeah, I was.
Just quickly, I want to say I'm a little embarrassed. Devin told me this was a semi-formal occasion, and
He came out in a
I'm just kind of a
tie
little overdressed
and a
and a
button
little
up.
miffed about it.
Look, at the end of the day, okay, you look fantastic. So who cares? You know what I mean? In my opinion, I don't think you can be overdressed. Let's say, Devin, did you really tell people this was a semi-formal occasion?
I might have. It might have slipped out of my mouth. I'm not 100% sure. But listen, you give me 30 seconds here. I'll be right back. Check this out, okay? I got you.
Oh gosh, I can only imagine what
Sorry,
Devin's
listeners,
doing
this
right
is
now.
the visual part of the podcast.
I mean, like, in my opinion, man, you look great anyways. People wear anything when they're streaming, you know what I mean? In some other news, I actually had my my Bolts sweatshirt come in, so my Lady Bisky cosplay will be being accomplished this week on stream.
Nice.
So that's pretty exciting. I've got the wig and the bow.
Set as well yesterday. The Bolts won their set as well yesterday.
They did. They did indeed. So there's a lot of reason to be excited about the Bolts and what they're doing right now. But I will be doing my Lady Bisky cosplay this week on stream, so that's going to be some pretty exciting stuff. I'm pretty thrilled to have the opportunity. That's for sure. So realistically, I mean, I don't think that you can be overdressed. The only way that I could have been overdressed is if I had included the wig and the bow today, in my opinion, because that would have just been too much. Oh, there we go. Devin has put on his button up and he's here.
Fancy lad.
All right, well,
now we're semi-formal, all right?
well, now I'm underdressed, so if y'all could just go ahead and get naked, that'd be pristine. But anyways, we've talked about our weeks. We've introed our fantastic guest, Rance Prees, and now it is time for the news. It's time. Vince, time to get dressed up. Not gonna happen. Okay, the news. The ESRB has rated the medium for PlayStation 5. Have either of you played the medium?
I've not.
No, not I.
So I actually did
Go
play
on.
through the medium. I say it was pretty
How'd you
exciting.
like it? Tell me about it, because I'm interested in that game. I want to play it.
Okay, so for anyone who's not familiar with the medium, essentially it was like a psychic thriller. I was gonna say psychological thriller, but that was the wrong word. Like very like supernatural, like called the medium obviously because she's someone who can like speak with the other side and like talk to spirits and stuff like that. And pretty much you play through the game, and there are portions of the game that are played in the living world, and there are portions that are played in what is basically the afterlife. Or like the limbo in between like our world and the afterlife before they move on. So like, and at different points in the game, you're actually like, you see your character in both worlds, and it shows up side by side like horizontal screens. So you see your character walking through both stages of the world, and there's different things that you can see in the afterlife world that you can't see in the physical world, and vice versa. So there are certain stages that you have to play and interact with different things and different like spirits and like, solve puzzles and stuff like that using information from both worlds, and you can like swap between them pretty seamlessly, aside from the parts that you're forced to work through both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
But
I was going to ask if it's more puzzle and detective work oriented or if it's kind of an action, because I don't remember much about it. I don't even remember when it came out.
yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
definitely a lot more puzzle like oriented than anything else.
I do love puzzles.
Yeah, if
I
you
feel like
like,
that works out the best for that type of gameplay too. That's nifty. I like that.
I mean, and even Resident Evil though, as much as it's become more or less action oriented, like there is still a really big focus on puzzles. Yeah, I think it just definitely works well for that type of game where you have that little bit of extra added pressure of there's a little bit more mystery underneath the mystery that's like a different kind of mystery that you can solve in steps while you're solving the overall mystery. So
Maybe even like a lick of horror just kind of pushes you forward, makes you want to go a little faster.
Exactly. So I personally, I loved the medium when I was playing through it. I didn't get a chance to finish it. I think it's about 10 hours long, so it's not a super long game. Whether or not it's worth like $60, up to you. I played it for free on Game Pass for PC anyways, because I just wanted to do a playthrough of it. I thought it looked awesome. And the game, as much as I played of it, I think I played about 4 hours. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Let's say little bit of jank here and there, obviously, because it's not the highest budget game. So like some of the puzzles, it's a little bit of like you're running your head against a wall for a little bit because you missed like one thing, like a few doors back, and you gotta like walk slowly because the character always walks slowly in games like this, So
Right.
just that type of vibe. But all in all, more games coming to more platforms is good for everybody.
Yeah.
So when I see that the medium is rated for PS5, I'm excited. I'm just glad to see more games that were previously, Xbox exclusive are now coming out for PlayStation 5 as well, because it did already release on PC.
And I'm not trying to be a brand junkie here, but if and when I do get a next gen console, I'm likely to get the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I think that's true for most people.
I mean, I think in our correct me if I'm wrong, but in the episode we did on Xbox versus PlayStation, we kind of determined that PlayStation was objectively the better console, unless you have like friends on Xbox or something.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, based off of like hardware specs and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, I look at it this way. Like, if you have a PS5 or if you have a PC, you basically already have an Xbox. I mean,
Yeah.
literally the entire library of Xbox exclusive games are coming to PC. Literally the only game that's currently that's been released recently on the Xbox Series X or Xbox One platform is Bless Unleashed, and that's releasing on PC later this year. And that wasn't like a direct Microsoft first party game. It was the third party published game that they made a deal with. So, I mean, that's literally the only thing that Microsoft's had a hand in that hasn't come out yet to my knowledge. All of their first party titles, they're coming to PC. They are full send on the PC market. So, I mean, if you got a PC, then you're good. You don't really need an Xbox Series X unless you're just determined to play the same games in your living room instead of in your computer share. So, there is a case to be made for that, but I can't imagine wanting to spend, $600 for the comfort of your living room. You know what I'm saying?
You could probably spend less money and just move your PC into your living room and display it on your TV or something.
Yeah.
There was a brief period of my life when I was heavy into Smite, where we had an Xbox One in the living room, and I would go downstairs after playing it on my PC, and I would play console Smite. In the living room.
Fair enough. Console Smite was pretty fun. I get that.
It made
Also,
me feel really good at the game because I already knew all the mechanics better than anybody on the console.
oh, dude, those first couple of months of Console Smite were pain for everybody who didn't play on PC. Honestly, it was you could tell when the lobbies were going the way that they were going, for sure. I mean, it was the people who knew and understood the game because they played it before, and then everybody else who was 0 and 15. So that was pretty much how the lobbies went for that period of Console Smite. And Jason as well, thank you so much for the subscription. We appreciate the support, man. You're amazing. 7 months of subbing. We love you, man. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you're having a great day. All right, so according to Polygon, all right, this is an article from Polygon. Credit where credit's due. Valorant is coming to mobile.
Word.
Kinda
What?
cool.
I mean,
I
kind
mean-
of.
Riot's
Yeah.
jumping on the mobile band real hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm
definitely.
not surprised. I'm not going to play it on
Can you-
mobile.
How well does anyone here know how well Valorant runs on a laptop? Like, is it easy to run?
I think Valorant's one of the easier games to run. I mean, I think that they kind of like designed it graphically to be relatively easy to run, aside from
Yeah.
the early frame drops that people were having in the game because, optimization stuff they just had to work out. But
If people can play Call of Duty mobile, they can play Valorant mobile.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can play PUBG mobile, you can absolutely play Valorant mobile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that many players on a map, you can figure out a way to make a 5v5 work with the maps. But I look at this, and I mean, we already had 2 people in the chat say gross. I mean, this is going to like immediately like turn off a lot of audiences, because you have the audience that both hates Valorant, okay, and also hates mobile games. Those are 2 audiences that there's going to be a lot of disappointment around.
I hate
And
phones and I hate fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I for me personally, I think that in general, like, I don't see how a game that is this sweaty can translate realistically to mobile. You know what I mean? Like, Call of Duty is
Yeah.
sweaty, but in a different way. The controls are simple. They're really simple. You can run and gun. You don't even have to be that accurate thanks to aim assist. I mean, like it or not, that is true.
Yeah.
I was a terrible controller player, and like, I would frag in my lobbies because you just aim down sights over and over again in the general vicinity of somebody and you hit them. I played the early Call of Duties. I'm garbage at Warzone. I'll own that. Okay, but like. And it's pretty much the same way on COD Mobile, realistically, because I did try that for a couple of games, and it's realistically like, if you're in the vicinity of someone and you aim down sights, I mean, you're snapping to them. That's
Yeah.
you can turn off the aim assist if you're just a crack shot and you're good with the mobile controls, and cool. But I think a game like Valorant, where you got to be like super precise with your movement and with your aim and stuff like that, I just
stop moving to do the shoosting.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Like jiggle peaks, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's gonna be crazy.
I wonder if they'll mess with that at all. Maybe nerf the bullet spread or something. I don't know. Just to compensate a little bit. Like, I don't understand how you can play Valorant accurately on a phone. I think the consensus is you can't. So like,
The
what are
one
they gonna
thing
do?
that I would be into about it is that because it's on a phone, I don't have to listen to my or the enemy team be shitty human beings.
Well,
That's
well.
true.
one would argue that it might actually be easier for you to listen to it because everybody's phone has a microphone on it. So they might
yeah.
include voice chat.
That would
They
suck.
damn well better not.
That would suck.
Voice chat that can only be used over speakerphones, so you can hear everybody screaming expletives on the subway while playing
Everybody sounds
Valorant
like they're
Mobile.
Yeah,
Ordering from a drive-through? No, thank you.
I'm only prepared to get yelled at by people in my computer desk, not
This is my safe
not
space.
really. Yeah, exactly. Not really on my couch or in my car.
On the bus.
Yeah, I don't need to get yelled at in different places. This is where I'll get yelled at right here.
Well, and I think for me personally, the most interesting thing about this news is that they also said that they want to bring it to consoles, as well. And they said mobile is currently the priority, and they started out with kind of a, can this game even work on mobile? And apparently they think it can work well enough that they're pursuing it because, why wouldn't you? Mobile is just a gold mine.
Yeah,
but they're
money,
bringing
money,
it,
money.
yeah, they're bringing it to consoles too. And I'm definitely curious to see how it works in a console environment, where a lot of the games, I mean, the closest thing that we have is Rainbow Six Siege, and even still, like, the penalty for moving during Rainbow Six Siege while shooting your guns are still largely accurate to where you're pointing. I don't think that there's any game on console currently where the recoil and the spread and everything like that works the same as it does in games like Valorant or Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how console players adapt. Obviously, being in only console lobbies, it'll be a pretty even playing field, but unless they do some serious aim assist shenanigans, I mean, it's going to be a heavy separation between the people who can aim and the people who cannot aim.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really want any part. I'll play Valorant on PC. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I've come this far on PC with Valorant. I think I can stay there.
Sonic Gamer just said trying to jiggle peek and you just hear someone taking a loud pee.
I saw that. It made me laugh.
You know what? Hey, sometimes you just gotta, go to the bathroom and take a dump and play some Valorant.
Or you're at a boring dinner at a restaurant with some. I mean, not right now because nothing's open, but you're at a boring dinner at a restaurant and you're like, I need to get away from these people. Hop into the bathroom, sit in a stall, and just play some Valorant. Hope dinner ends.
And,
what were you doing in there for an hour?
Sorry.
I was fragging.
Ranked pooping. Just like
competitive.
Yeah. Had to pinch it off though. Was getting short on time.
And only 10 minutes. It was just a quick spike rush. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
my man said spike rush. Oh gosh. Okay, that's good enough for me. We don't need to talk about any more Valorant on this podcast episode. I think we're
Valorant poop jokes is where we headed today.
I don't think we're about escalation in the public bathroom personally, but to each their own.
What about deathmatch?
Okay, so maybe deathmatch. A chicken nugget shaped like an Among Us character has sold at auction for almost $100,000. That's an article from IGN, by the way.
I hate everything.
That's a fun one.
I hate everything. A chicken nugget shaped like an Among Us character. Okay, like I've eaten some chicken nuggies recently. Okay, I've eaten them recently. Most of my chicken nuggets look like Among Us characters, okay? I'm sorry, the shape is vaguely the same on pretty much every single chicken nugget.
Ambiguous blob, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
You missed out on $100,000. That was your chance.
I didn't even think about it.
Take a small chicken nugget, put it on top of a bigger chicken nugget, sell it as an Among Us skin with the baby on the hat.
Oh my gosh. $200,000 potentially?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's another 100K easy right there.
And I mean, I saw this in the news and Devin told me about it and I was just like, we have to talk about this. We have to. Like there's no way that we can't bring this up at least. Like it's not actual gaming news, but good God, the things that some people will spend money on.
Good meme.
Do we know who bought it? Did they mention who bought it?
I didn't catch that. It is an IGN article though. I can do a quick little checkup on that if you guys.
Yeah.
I want to know who sees that. Well, one, who's the person who put it up for auction? But two, who's the one who saw it on auction and went, I never knew it until right now, but I've always wanted this.
And who wanted it $100,000 worth of wanting it? You know what I mean?
Who has far too much money and nothing to do with it.
Like, even if I have like exorbitant amount of money, like if I'm just like Scrooge McDucking every single day in my like just pool of money and I swim through it, you know
That's
what
the
I mean?
dream.
I never look at chicken nuggets and go $100,000. Like if it was the best chicken
So,
nugget I was ever going to eat in my life, I wouldn't spend $100,000 on it.
so the article says it was also a nugget that was in the BTS meal, which is that
Oh.
little, yeah, the whatever meal that McDonald's has going on. But anyway, it says the buyer's unknown at the time of writing. It's unclear whether they're a huge Among Us fan, a huge BTS fan, or a fan of both, or if they just really wanted a chicken McNugget around the time of the auction closing.
Oh, perfect.
Bidding started at 99 cents, by the way,
Wow, and
on
it went
eBay.
that
How many
high.
times do you think bidding jumped up? Do you think it went 99 cents, somebody bid $20 as a meme, and then 100K immediately next? Or do you think that was
It's
race?
possible.
Do you think that was a war?
It had to have been pretty quick because the BTS meal came out like a week or two ago, I think. So within that time, it went to 100,000 from 99 cents.
I can't even imagine. When you said that there was like BTS people who were interested, I was like, okay, the BTS fans are kind of crazy. I'd believe that they'd buy it.
And
But
they probably pooled their money together or something.
yeah,
And they're gonna frame it,
Yeah.
there's
make a
some
little BTS nuggy shrine.
there's some BTS fans who are avid believers in everything BTS. So that would not be the most surprising thing. But similarly, I'm sure chicken nuggies have a similar level of fandom. I know I love them, but not $100,000 worth of love. Just enough love
Yeah.
to put them in my tummy.
That's right.
But chicken nuggets, the new Bitcoin potentially. What do we think? Swiftbone said that. How do we feel? Can
No,
we
thank you.
purchase chicken nuggets to resell them later at
I'm not
increased
ready to
value?
invest in that yet.
Apparently, one person did, and it worked. So that's quite a come up. You're looking at what, like $1 per nugget potentially at McDonald's,
What do
roughly.
you do with the $100,000 you made on a chicken nugget?
Buy more
Buy
chicken
it.
nuggets.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Reinvest. Obviously, the bubble's about to burst. We can do
Yes.
this.
You know what? I don't even know why I asked. The answer was right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dying Light 2 is releasing December 7th, 2021. People have been waiting for this information. They've been excited about this information. Dying Light 1 was amazing.
Was good.
Yeah.
Are you excited? Rance, did you play the first Dying Light? Are you hyped?
I did. I did. I didn't finish it, but I played it and I enjoyed it. And I don't know why I didn't finish it. So
I don't know.
I will probably, most definitely, 100% maybe buy Dying Light 2.
Nice. Those sound like pretty good odds. I'd bet on it. What about you, Devin? How do you feel about the Dying Light 2 announcement?
I'm stoked. I mean, what they announced this game, was it like 2-3 years ago now, maybe?
Mhm.
It's been announced for a while, and we've been waiting on that release date. So I'm stoked. I played Dying Light 1. I beat the game, played it co-op with all my buddies. It was a good time. And it sounds like they're adding a lot of cool little like you do this and the world changes in this way type stuff. That kind of stuff always piques my interest a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when I see this announcement coming out, the immediate thought for me is, where is Dead Island 2? You know?
Oh, dude.
Because that
Yeah.
game, like, since announcement pretty much has just been in development hell. And when I look at how bad Dead Island 1 and Dead Island Riptide were, which were amazing games at their time, but how bad they were comparatively to Dying Light,
Yeah.
Well,
you know what I
going
mean?
Back to play either one hurts.
Yeah. I think that people genuinely remember Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide, because a buddy of mine went back to play Dead Island, either Dead Island 1 or Dead Island Riptide, like a couple of weeks ago. And I think that people are confusing how good Dying Light was with how good Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide were, because they were not nearly as good as Dying Light.
I
And-
went back and played Dead Island maybe like 6 months ago,
Mhm.
and that had been after I finished Dying Light, and the game
You were on the
didn't.
high.
Yeah, it didn't seem as good as I remembered it for sure. Like when I was playing, I was like, man, I should have left this in my
your
childhood. You
in
know,
your
like
nostalgia chest in your little brain hole.
yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of regretted it a little bit because
Don't open that box.
exactly. I shouldn't have opened it. I did,
And
but it's still good. It's just not as good.
It's so slow.
Yeah,
definitely. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is like, I look at how much better Dying Light was when it came out. And for me personally, I mean, I don't like zombie games traditionally. I don't really enjoy COD Zombies. I don't really enjoy like the Dead Rising series. I played that a little bit, but it wasn't the most incredible thing. Dead Island kind of like underwhelmed me. And then Dying Light comes out, and Dying Light is amazing. I mean, that is hands down the best zombie game I've played outside of games like The Last of Us, which aren't quite a zombie game. You know, that's obviously
like
more of
zombie
a
fighting Spider-Man.
narrative story game. Yeah, right. And like when I played Dying Light, I looked at that game and I was like, this is the gold standard for zombie games in my opinion. I mean, it, like every part of it felt awesome, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Dead Island guys are looking at what they keep coming up with and going, this still probably isn't even as good as the first Dying Light. Looking at the quality of Dead Island and then Dead Island Riptide compared to Dying Light, like it wouldn't surprise me if they've gone back to the drawing board a few times just trying to figure out any way to make it even a little bit better than Dying Light. And I think they've got to be struggling. And now here's Dying Light 2. It's coming. They have a release date, and we haven't heard even a peep about Dead Island. So I'm
Right.
kind of curious to see what happens with that game. I don't even know if it's going to come out at this point.
Honestly, like I just said, I think I'm cool leaving it in the nostalgia chest and moving on, and we're moving forward with Dying Light now. I'd be okay with that. I had my good times with Dead Island, and now
it was
the
what was
Usurper
available
comes.
at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And at the time, similarly, Dead Island was obviously like one of the best things that was available zombie-wise for sure, you know?
I think it reinvented the whole zombie genre kind of in a way. Like it wasn't that was one of the first like open world craft your tools and stay alive type zombie game. It wasn't just like a more of like a tower defense or like a Left 4 Dead style type game. Like I don't know. That game it felt like something fresh, but now
Mhm.
zombies are a little more of a saturated thing and people are doing it 100 different ways. Like when it comes to the way that they did it, Dying Light has it beat, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely it does. And I mean,
You've been outmoded.
speaking of potentially making things fresh, we finally have a release date for Pokemon Legends of Arceus. And that's going to be releasing January 28th, 2022.
Ooh.
How you
Is
feeling
it Legends
about
of
it?
Arceus, or is it just Pokemon Legends Arceus?
It might be Legends Arceus, but it just sounded weird when I was reading it. I was looking at it and I was like, Pokemon Legends of Arceus or Legends Arceus.
think
I don't
It's
know.
think it's
Pokemon Legends : Arceus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. We love the colon.
Yeah,
All right.
colons are
So
cool.
that's
Can you just stop talking about Valorant?
yeah, no kidding. Back to Valorant bathroom talk. But I look at this and I'm like, this is probably going to be the next Pokemon game I buy, realistically. I have no interest in purchasing more Pokemon. I bought Sword and Shield like pre-owned on a huge discount because I had like a GameStop coupon or something like that for a pre-owned game. I ended up getting it for like $30 a couple of months after it came out. And
Yeah.
like I have not even beat the third gym. Like I just don't feel motivated to play Pokemon at this point. It doesn't feel fresh enough to me. And Dynamaxing definitely wasn't going to be the thing that made me super invested and ready to come back again, knowing that I could make my Pokemon super big.
Make 'em big.
Yeah, I
Mega
don't care.
Evolution was way cooler than that, and Mega Evolution was still a gimmick.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I look at that and I'm like, man, Pokemon, the stuff you're doing is dumb. This isn't what people want, you know? And I look at this, Pokemon Legends Arceus, that's what people want. I mean, like, by and large, they either want the remake of Diamond and Pearl, which is also coming. They announced that that's releasing on November 19th. Or they want, Game Freak to finally start pushing the boundaries of what they can do with the Pokemon games.
Or you want Pokemon Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, exactly.
which is hopefully along the lines of what we'll get here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've seen that one trailer that's out. It still looks like it's very, very much so in early development. Like if you really pay attention to it, the animations for the Pokemon are a little scuffed looking, and the AI
little
doesn't look
janky.
very. Yeah, it doesn't look very. The AI looks a little behind. I don't know, but it is very early access. I hope it turns into something great. I want it to be something great. I don't want to curse that evil upon them, but
Mhm.
right now it looks, based off what I've seen in the trailers, it looks like it could be. I'm not getting my hopes up is all I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean that makes sense, but at the same time, like it's kind of a catch-22, isn't it? Because you want them to push the boundaries a little bit more and try to like reinvent the Pokemon wheel a little bit more and take it a little bit farther than they've taken it before. But
Whenever
If they
ever.
do that and they fail, and people choose not to support it, then they're like, oh, this was the wrong option. We're just going back to
Never
normal
again.
Pokemon and never again. You know?
Well, it would be cool if what they're like, so they're releasing the new Diamond and Pearl remakes on the side while also working on this project. Like, if they have the resources to do that, then why don't they just continue to do that? Throw the little mainline remake type games, and then maybe throw like a little passion project on the side. Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd be down
hopefully
for
that's
it.
what this turns into.
Yeah. And realistically, E3 is right around the corner. Nintendo has already announced that they're going to be doing a direct and then a treehouse afterwards to show gameplay and announcements. And they're going to be talking a lot about games coming in 2021 for the most part, is what their
Yeah.
announcement said. So I would imagine and hope, like really, really hope, that they're going to show us a lot more gameplay for Pokemon Legends of Arceus. So
I
they're,
know people want to see it. I hope they
yeah.
do too.
yeah.
It'd be pretty disappointing if they just went, oh, and here's some footage of our remake.
Close out the show with, okay, we know you're excited about Pokemon. Dramatic pause. Here are the remakes. And then just close out with that and just don't say anything about it at all. I think people would riot.
Make sure that you hand everybody a little pamphlet that they read through as the show goes on, and at the back of the book it just says "Get fucked."
Yeah, yeah, pretty much exactly that. Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I'm severely disappointed by the remakes, honestly.
Really?
That was well, okay, Diamond and Pearl were like my childhood Pokemon games. Those are the ones I look upon with the most nostalgia, the most fondness,
Mhm.
And I feel like they kind of kicked me in the balls with it. Like I wanted some nice like sword and shield type looking stuff. Give me a wild area or something, but what I'm okay with chibi stuff, but like why it when did they haven't done that in years? Like 10 years at least. Why
Yeah.
out of nowhere do you want to make it all chibi again? I don't get it.
Yeah,
And
who's in that focus group?
no, dude, like 10-year-olds, I guess. I don't know. Like, or people not me, that's for sure. I can't do it. I'm a little upset about that. And then even like the battle trailers, it looks like they're not learning. I want to see landscape of a place I'm actually fighting in that makes sense and not like some random fort. Like if you're in a area that has like 3 trees and then you get into a battle and all of a sudden the 3D arena around you is just like deep forest wooded, like where did all this come from? I
Yeah.
noticed little things in the trailer that
We
just
must
upset
fight.
me.
Now come with me, and you go on a 30-minute walk into the woods.
Exactly, dude.
We must do combat or potentially murder you.
Now,
Either way.
that being said, I'm probably still gonna buy it because I really like Pokemon and I really like Diamond and Pearl, but I don't know. I think I wanted more out of that.
Something that you said that I got to touch on a little bit more is you said they're not learning. And I
Yeah,
would
I
I would
mean,
argue that Nintendo is worse than anyone else, any other company in the gaming
yeah.
industry at learning. They are the best at getting creative and reinventing the wheel and trying new things and being adventurous, but they never learn. Like they do not look at other people and adapt what other people are doing well at all. Like as is evidenced by their online infrastructure, their eShop, their multiplayer in any game they've ever tried to make. The fact that they released Mario Party in the state that they released Mario Party in the year 2020 or 19, whatever year Mario Party came out. I mean, it was
That was a
abysmal.
rough one.
It's
Yeah.
like they're so bad at learning.
They're
Very
that
stubborn.
creative kid who cannot take criticism at all.
Yeah.
They come up with new ideas, and then when the art teacher goes, "Oh, but maybe you want to try this," they go to the art teacher and go, "No, you're stupid. Now give me your money."
Yeah, exactly. And then the
You're
art teacher
wrong.
gives them their money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Here's $60.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. So it'll be curious to see, where Pokemon heads in the future. I'm hoping that eventually Nintendo manages to learn. I'm still waiting for a proper like multiplayer Pokemon MMORPG, but in the meantime, Temtem will have to do whenever that releases. So I'm pretty excited to see how that game does.
Yeah.
But Knockout City hit 5 million players, and they extend their free trial from just being like a block party, like week or weekend type thing, to now be free for everyone for until they cancel it, I guess, up to level 25. Have you tried Knockout City, Rants? Have you gotten an opportunity to give this a shot?
I'm going to. I know I'm going to. Every time I see something about it, I go, "It's a dodgeball move, but that's dumb. I really want to play that."
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much, pretty much. What about
So I know that I will play it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, and I think it's partly because nobody else that I game with has told me that they're playing it.
you? That makes sense. Yeah, having friends to play games like this with is incredibly important. What about you, Devin? Have you given this one a shot yet?
I haven't. I've seen a little bit of gameplay and I'm really interested in it. I would really
It,
like to play it. I
it
think it
got
would be
well with
really
me.
cool. Yeah, I was gonna say like with some friends, get a group going. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Well, one of my mods, he's in the chat right now saying rants if you want to play, hit him up. But like that's Steady Stormbear. He's been playing a lot of like Knockout City himself, and he's been really enjoying it. Apparently, like every person that I talked to who has played the game has been like, "Wow, this is so fun." Literally, the only reason that I haven't played it is because Burning Crusade Classic came out this week, and therefore, literally, the rest of the world is just faded into the
No other
background.
games exist right now.
Yeah, yeah, literally everything. I mean, it's just like World of Warcraft Classic is it. I love the game. I love it
At this
dearly.
point, playing Smite is going to work for you.
Pretty much, yeah. That's pretty much what we're looking at right now.
Gotta go
But
to work, and then I get to play games.
well, it's kind of good though, because like I do still love Smite a lot. I do still really enjoy the game thoroughly. So it's kind of nice to like get a break from the grind of World of Warcraft because it is a grind. I mean, it
Yeah.
is. It is. I was up until I hit level 67 last night at 12:30. And I turned in a few quests and gained a little bit of experience, and I was like, oh, maybe I could push to 68. And I finally went to sleep at 5 in the morning. And I hit level 68.
We had it backwards. It's he goes to work and plays WoW, and then he plays games when he wants to play Smite.
Yeah.
That's-
Right. Okay.
Pretty much. But the thing is, and Kina said Vince ruining his hard-earned sleeping schedule for that grind. Not quite, because I'm still waking up at the same time. I'm just sleeping less, so I'm still tired at the right times, which is good. I'm pretty much
Just all the
tired all day
times.
long. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So as soon as it's time to
Sleep
sleep at
whenever.
at a normal hour, I'll be good to go. Exactly. Oh man. Well, this gaming news segment has been pretty hot. I know we have E3 coming up. I'm pretty excited to be covering E3. We might be potentially looking into doing some gaming Tonic E3 coverage as a potential option. So for anybody who's excited to see the E3 announcements, we are going to be looking into potentially setting something up for that and seeing how it goes. If nothing else, if I can't manage to get Devin to come out here and do it with me, I will absolutely be watching E3 live because it's E3. It's
What
the
day is
most
that?
exciting season of gaming. I think the Nintendo Treehouse is on the
Good day.
16th, and usually they're on the last day, so it'll be the few days before that, I would guess.
All right,
I
we'll
would
figure
guess.
something out for sure.
Okay,
Keep you guys posted.
awesome. So, today's topic, and I'm excited to talk about this one because I know a lot of the people in our collective communities are also streamers. We have a lot of friends that are streamers, a lot of people who are interested in getting into streaming or creating content of some kind, but streaming a game is only step one. And we were like throwing around a lot of potential topics for today's podcast and things that we could discuss with rants because like I again we like talking to you so much just in casual conversation about like
Could have talked
like
about anything with you, man.
yeah
Really.
Gosh, shucks.
but we wanted to really nail something down that we felt like would be like really good and valuable for a lot of people to hear. And I like what we're looking at here because a lot of people they hear about streaming and they're like, oh, okay, I can stream, because I have a PC that can stream. So I click go live and then that's it. And they never do anything else. They never take it any farther than that. They don't ever like look to improve upon what they're doing. And those are all of the people that you see in the 0 to 2 viewer graveyard, pretty much. And that's what you're looking at. You got to do something to take it a little bit farther for yourself. So I'm really excited to talk about this topic. I think we've all done things to take it farther for ourselves in our own way individually. So I think we're gonna get a lot of good discussion going here, and I'm excited. So, Rance, what would you say is the most important part of your stream?
For my stream in particular, it's me as a speaker.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I brand myself, is an entertainer who is just playing games, or a speaker who is just playing games. And so while the back end stuff, the marketing, the social media, the graphics, those are a huge part of growing yourself. And I think one that I've been neglecting lately.
Yeah.
One thing that I think people don't work a lot on, which is something that I try to work on more, is on yourself outside of stream. So the most important part of my stream is practicing being an entertainer.
Yeah.
For me. And that can go from anywhere, like what I just did there. I used like as a filler word. I try to cut that out as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And to practice doing so, I'll pick a story and I will speak it out loud to myself. Something that I'm very familiar with or a story I like telling, and I'll tell it and I'll try to cut out as much filler as I can. And then I'll try to cut down the story by leaving out parts that I don't find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I've cut it down enough, I'll try to tell the story again, but make it a little longer by adding some jokes about the story in. And it's the same way that I would write a comedy routine. And that's just kind of a warm up that I do to practice on myself as an entertainer rather than just practicing on the technical parts of my stream.
Wow.
So, yeah, so for me, I'm the most important part of my stream.
Awesome.
I agree with you.
And that's incredible. Like, as someone who's never like tried to develop a stand-up comedy routine or anything like that, but like the way that I tell stories, I mean, for anyone who's watched my stream, like people say that they like listening to me talk and like tell stories, and the way that I tell things is very, very good. But at the same time, like I know for a fact that I use filler words like and stuff like that. Like I've never even considered like taking the time to actually make sure that I'm, not just like filling the empty air with easy things like or or it feels, or like I got an opportunity to cast a tournament last Saturday. Actually, that's why we didn't have an episode of the podcast last Saturday. And after one of our games during a break, the other caster who I was talking with, he's a really experienced caster. He's pretty well known in the Smite community. And sorry, they were talking to me, and like they were like, so just a heads up, you could honestly just like put it on a t-shirt, the words "I'm curious to see." You have to come up with something else to say, because I said "I'm curious to see" so many times, and as soon as they said it, I was like, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm just using this as filler. And I said it so many times, like immediately in my mind, I saw like 6 different times where I said it, like just real quick. And you have to cut out habits like that, because people notice those kind of habits and those kind of patterns and stuff like that. And it can be good to have things that are independent to you or unique to you, but at the same time,
sure.
Like don't take it that far where it's just like a crutch for you to stand on while you're trying to come up with the rest of your thought.
I agree. And it's dangerous to become aware of it, because then you become hyper aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to push yourself past it when you do it.
Yeah.
Because when you become aware of it, then you start apologizing for doing it when you do it, and you can't do that either.
Mm.
You got to just keep going and pretend like that time you meant to do it.
Yeah, the apology spiral is what I like to call it. I think the apology spiral is one of the biggest mistakes that streamers make. Is they'll just be in the middle of doing whatever they're doing, and they'll screw up, or they'll say something wrong, or something they didn't mean to say, or something like that, and then it's immediately just like they spend the next like 2.5 minutes drawing attention to that thing, trying to apologize for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, as a viewer, there are few things that are more off-putting for me than listening to someone be like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to do that, oh my gosh, and people are noticing, and oh my gosh, things are happening, and now, like, and literally all of their gameplay is derailed because of that one moment.
In the same vein as that as well, when you start playing poorly or you're performing poorly in whatever your stream is, don't verbalize that.
Yeah.
A lot of comedians on stage, when the audience isn't resonating with you, I've seen amateur comedians start to mention that the audience not that joke, I'm doing shitty tonight on stage, so I'm just gonna go, that's my time, or something. Don't.
That's a zinger, dude.
If you're playing poorly, roll with it. Try to build on that, rather than, self-deprecating humor can be funny, but when it comes to just bullying yourself, then the people in chat want to bully you too.
Yeah. Wow.
He doesn't like what he's doing. Why should I like what he's doing?
Yeah.
Is there like a contingency plan for that? Like, do stand-up comedians have like a back pocket joke for when the audience isn't in their favor, and they like it maybe touches upon that in like a funny way to win them back? Like,
it depends on the type of joke, I suppose. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
If you touch on something that's a political topic or a social topic and nobody laughs, you can make a quick quip about them being on the opposite end of that social topic than you just touched on. But most of the times, you just got to power through, do your set. You might have some fallback jokes in the back of your head that hit in most places.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of resort to those. But for the most part, you're going to have bad days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
You just got to remember that a lot of comedy sets as well, if you're not the headliner, you're not doing an hour, you're doing 10 minutes. So if you have a bad 10-minute set, that's 10 minutes out of your day. Who cares?
Yeah.
You
You're
know, the rest of my
good.
day went pretty good.
Yeah.
Didn't even
You'll always
die.
get
Made
another
it all the
10
way
Yeah.
there.
minutes.
Yeah.
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 Made it
Nailed
all the
it.
way to those 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes didn't go great. Then when those 10 minutes were done, I didn't have to worry about anything for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Go plan out your next 10-minute set, man. There you
Yeah.
go.
You
Yeah.
take notes and you
Let it
fix
fuel
them. You're
you.
like, this audience didn't resonate with this. Maybe it's something that I need to look at, or maybe it was just that audience.
Absolutely.
And so I think in streaming, it can do the same thing. You know, you only have a 5 or 6 viewer day, or the chat's not chatting as much on that day. Or when you watch the VOD, you go, ooh, I was a little dead that day.
Mhm.
How can I fix this? But
Yeah.
that's the only kind of worrying that you want to do about it. Don't dwell on it too much.
I think that's a really slept on strategy for improving yourself as far as streaming goes is looking over your VODs, listening to yourself as if you were a viewer. I think
I
that's
agree.
you should do that at least like once a week, I think.
Absolutely. What about you, Devin? What would you say is the most important part of your stream?
Uh I'm gonna have to say it's I think in almost any stream that I like and my own stream, I think the most important thing about it is the person streaming, you know? Like I like to be there for the people, not necessarily for what they're doing. Unless
Yeah.
there's exceptions to that. Like if someone's doing something really interesting, then I'll probably be there, and that's always a nice little icing on the cake to the person themselves. So yeah, I would just say me. I think I'm pretty cool.
And you are. You're
Yeah,
very cool. You're
I
absolutely
try,
right.
man.
And cool.
I really try.
Yeah, I can only watch so much Pogo Stuck before I want to pull out the rest of my hair. But like,
I can
I
only play
definitely,
so much Pogo Stuck. You know?
and I'm not even playing it, and I'm just like, good God, this is grueling. Like, I watched for like 20 minutes the other day a little bit of Pogo Stuck, and I was like, and I'm watching you go through it, and you're making really good progress, and I'm watching you jump across moving bees, and you're
Yeah,
jumping across the
dude,
moving
that part's
bees.
so hard.
And then you hit one the wrong way and you fell all the way back down to the bottom, and I was like, I'm gonna keep you tabbed and just have another window open because I can't
You're
continue to
getting
watch
anxiety
this.
from it.
I love Devin so much, but I cannot. I just
think
cannot watch
at
it.
this point for me, like with that game specifically, it's just like I don't even get I get a little mad sometimes if I bump into stupid stuff that I really don't like that, but I've gotten so angry at Pogo Stuck, I don't think I can get very mad at it anymore. It's more of just what was that? And then we move on, and then
Mhm.
we fall again, rinse and repeat. But yeah, that game sucks.
Yeah.
But I love it.
And I think all of our answers are largely the same. The most important part of our streams is us. And I think a lot of people don't really understand why most people watch games. For people who are watching for the gameplay, the people who are watching for specifically only gameplay, they're watching the best of the best people do gameplay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a couple of people who can get away with memeing up being terrible at games, but even then, they're watching for the quality of the people's memes. They're not
Right.
watching to see them be awful at a game. They don't care how good or bad you are at the game, realistically. If you are an entertaining personality and they enjoy watching you and how you react to the things that happen around you, then they will come
Mhm.
back. You know?
Absolutely.
Like literally anybody can go on YouTube and look up only a gameplay video with no commentary because there's hundreds of thousands of them, and most of them aren't that interesting. You know what I mean? Like the most important part of my stream is probably me. And I would say that there are other facets of that are equally important. I mean, I am decent at the game that I'm playing, which does matter a bit, because, not everybody wants to see you go on and lose all day, even though that's what it's been for Smite for the last, week or so, because my MMR is getting a little bit too high, realistically. But at the same time, they're there for the chat. I mean, the amount of people someone just joined my Discord voice call last night, and he was like, dude, I don't play Smite that often, but I stopped by your stream, and your chat is amazing. Like the people in your chat are just fantastic. They're so chill. They're friendly. They're great. You
Mhm.
have an incredible community around you. And if I had to pick one thing besides obviously my personality as it is on stream, I would have to say it's the people in the community. The community that you build around you is probably the second most important thing about your stream. You know?
I was going to mention something about that before, where I think that still fits in the you as a streamer, because while on my end, where I say I'm the most important part of my stream, I do try to engage with my chat, but the entertaining part of my stream is when I'm creating comedy either with Rachel or by myself, or just being a relaxing voice that hopefully is interesting to talk to outside of chat. Where on your end, the most important part of your stream is you, but it's also the included in that is the way that you engage with your chat and make your chat engage with each other.
Yeah.
That's one of your skills is, and it's a skill that you've worked on. It's something that you train yourself to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's really interesting too, because I actually get questions from people like on a pretty regular basis, like, how do you get your chat to interact like this? How do you get them to be as active as they are? How do you get them to talk to each other like this? And like all those things. And my only answer, because this is genuinely my answer, is I just actually care about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't see them as numbers. Like I used to wait tables and do retail work, and like I spent a lot of time in customer service, and I hit a point where eventually I was just so disenfranchised with the work. I had been burned so many times by just awful people that I started to just like almost like dehumanize the people who were coming in, to where it wasn't like they were people sitting down in front of me. It was just the job that was in front of me, and that was it, you know?
Right.
And as soon as I started to hit that point, I realized I was like, I have to get out of this job. Like
Absolutely.
these are human beings, you know what I mean? Like these are living,
Yeah.
breathing people that are going through their days and experiences and like feeling things and thinking things and like being a part of this world. And they mean so much more than just like the money that they give me at the end of my day, you know?
Yeah, the
And-
mindset's a little desensitizing, I think.
Exactly.
Handle that for so long.
And
it also affects how much money you're going to make doing that job.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most
And a
customers
waiting job
aren't
for
stupid,
sure.
and they'll see that you see them as numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's probably the most important part of like my engagement with my stream is the fact that like I do take that time and care about everyone who comes in to the very best of my ability, you know? Like sometimes I do things that make people unhappy. Sometimes I do things that they don't like. Sometimes I have to argue a point and be like, look, this is just how I feel about it, and it is what it is, you know? Like, and it's gonna be that way sometimes, because that's who I am, and I am gonna stay true to myself no matter what.
But you
But
still
sim-
care.
But similarly, staying true to myself means, Joe, thank you for the 220 bits, you madman. I appreciate you. I love you, dude. That was absolutely not necessary, but I appreciate the heck out of it. But like at the same time, you know, anytime that somebody comes through and they're dealing with something or anything like that, even if it's not the most comfortable thing to talk about on stream, you know, like, I mean, I've had people bring up some really like heavy, like sometimes depressing topics in my stream.
Sure.
And a lot of people will tell you, you know, you don't want to bring that into the stream. You don't want to talk about that on stream and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe you don't. But this is who I am. I genuinely care about human beings. You know? And that's part of my identity as a streamer, and why I think people like talking so much is because they can tell I care about them. Even the people who I give a hard time, they know I care about them.
Even in situations like that, you can tell the person who brought that something heavy into your chat, you know, touch on it a little bit, but let them know, hey, this isn't something that I can talk about right now.
Yeah.
But if you need somebody to talk to after stream, feel free to message me. I care.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to, if you want to jump into voice chat together, or if you just want to have a DMs together, you know, we can talk about this. Or if you think I'm qualified to give you an advice, I sure don't.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
Absolutely.
good way to handle it if you don't want if you for some reason don't want to talk about that live, you could definitely move it into DMs or you know,
Mhm.
voice chat somewhere else.
You just need to
There's
let those people
options.
know that you do still care.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah. And similarly, like some people, they'll call it attention seeking, they'll call it a lot of things when somebody brings something like that up in chat, but at the same time, like sometimes you know, a lot of people, you can have different opinions, you can not have different opinions on this. This is how I feel about it. If you're not comfortable with dealing with that on your stream, absolutely take the other avenue. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like for me, who's someone who is, because like again, like my struggles on my own self with my mental health and things like that, like I'm very open about these things because I think that somebody needs to be, you know?
Sure.
Like it's really important that people know that there's other people who deal with this stuff all the time, and that it's a real thing, and it's not something that you're going through alone. And I think that like a lot of people get a lot out of having other people be there in support of them and tell them that they can do it, you know? So
Yeah.
like and again, that's something that works for me specifically. Like so much of streaming is finding out exactly what works for you and why it works for you, and capitalizing on your strengths. And one of my biggest strengths is that I genuinely do just love people. You know? And that's probably like the most important part of my stream, is that I'm true to myself
Eat shows, friend.
in every aspect. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. So
Wait, and you said something real quick there, and then I'll
yeah,
finish touching on it. But you had said when somebody brings something in that, a lot of people will call them attention seekers. I don't see that as a negative term. Sometimes people need
They need
attention.
it.
And if this
Yeah.
is the only place that they can think of to get it because everywhere else in their life they're not,
yeah,
and they are willing to use this avenue to try to, let them. And, give them a little bit of it. It doesn't take anything out of me to give somebody a little bit of attention.
yeah. I agree. I agree.
Agreed. Yeah.
But similarly, I think we can all tell when people take it too far too. So
Yes,
Oh yeah.
absolutely.
there's
In
lines, but yeah,
in anything, there are extremes that are a little over the top. But
even
sometimes you just need a little attention. That's what
even
streaming is. Streaming is getting attention.
even too
Yeah.
much water will kill you. Like,
You
and water's one of the best things for you to have on the
Yeah.
planet. So it is what it is. You're absolutely right. So, how do you keep your viewers feeling involved and engaged? And we touched on this a little bit already. I mean, Joe mentioned that like one of the things that I do is like make people feel valued when they come into the stream. I engage with people. I create the atmosphere. Chat starts to kind of like reflect that towards each other as well. So, Rance, what do you do typically to keep viewers engaged when they come through?
Uh, Questions a lot of time, but mostly it's being grateful, letting them know that I just appreciate that they're there. I'm not constantly thanking everybody who's lurking because I also, while the algorithm wants chat to be engaging, I'm a lurker. I
Yeah.
hop into a chat, I'll say one thing, I'll be in that chat the whole rest of the time, but I won't type because I'm
Me
often
too.
doing other things on my other window or I'm playing a game myself. And so I just like to watch and kind of absorb the community. And I let the people who come into me know that that's also an okay thing. Again, it's not something that the algorithm loves, but it's something that I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just try to be relatable, even though I'm entertaining and I'm being an embellished version of myself. I am still being myself.
Hmm.
And I think being a relatable human helps people be comfortable to engage in chat.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Very true. What
I
about you,
think being
Devin?
relatable overall just makes being an entertainer an easier thing to do, because I think a lot of comedy just comes from people being able to relate to like specific situations that you're talking about,
Yeah.
Like the
Mhm.
comedians that I like the most, I feel like are ones that have told stories that I'm like, "Oh, I've been there before.
Yeah, I've
Like
been
I
in
know
that
how that
situation.
feels."
I didn't act
Yeah.
like they acted, but I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, totally. Um I like to I like to do a lot of things. I like to talk to people a lot. My favorite part about streaming is just talking to people. So anyone that comes in, I'm gonna want to talk to you. Whether it's I don't care what type of interaction we're having. If I'm talking, like I hope that you feel involved and engaged and like we're hanging out. I like to do polls a lot so
I was
people
going to
can
say the
vote.
polls and the voting in
Yeah,
your chat are a lot of fun. I get a lot
yeah.
of enjoyment out of just typing a number and being like, I participated.
Ones or twos, baby. Yeah, yeah. I like the polls a lot. That's probably one of my favorite things. And like even Twitch's like integrated prediction thing, that's always a fun time to use. I like to use the tools at hand to make people feel involved and engaged,
Mhm.
Because if I can't make every single person feel involved and engaged, at least I can kind of like bring it all together with those voting tools or those prediction tools, stuff like that.
Right.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the predictions, and I gotta say, like something that's brought a lot to my stream, and is part of my basis for seeking out new mods. The last time I seeked out new mods, I'm currently like going to be going over mod applications and stuff like that over the next couple of days because I'm looking for a couple more. But Kinasu is one of my mods who has been knocking it out of the park in the predictions department, and she does like creative titles for predictions and stuff like that. And when she's not around, I know like Teddy or Mimosa or like any of the other mods who can do the predictions. I think Erica might have even done one this week, but I'm not 100% sure if that was her that did it or not because I got a few mods. They're usually lurking in chat, but like just having some other way for them to engage, like the prediction function is so valuable. Like if you're not
Polls.
playing a game that requires you to be like engaged constantly either way, like it is so good to just be able to like have something else for viewers to interact with on the screen to keep them active and interested in what's happening. Because like I'll have people come in and be like, predictions, where are they? Because they want the channel points.
Yeah, and
I have
that
yet to win a prediction in your channel.
Really.
I every time I vote for you to do well, you do poorly. Every time I vote for you to do poorly, you do well. I've tried so many times.
that's how it goes, dude.
I'm telling you, this last week, if you had bet on poorly, you would have won a few. You would have won many predictions, to be
I
honest
want
with
to
you.
believe in you. You're my friend.
The games have been rough over the last
Sometimes
week.
you got to be in it for the channel points, all right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be running on broke pretty quick here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing about predictions is like the prediction itself is a type of interaction, but then the reward from winning a prediction leads into another interaction as like in channel point rewards with channel points, like
Mhm.
Yeah.
so it's kind of this like layered thing. Predictions, they're cool.
Apparently, we didn't finish our last prediction, and Erica just typed in the chat, and she has a prediction thing next to her icon.
I
So if one of the
noticed
other
that.
mods could run in there real quick and finish whatever prediction was left over from yesterday's stream, I would
Win or
appreciate it.
lose? Did you win or lose at the
Huh?
last game you played? It's
We
a win or
were
lose.
we were betting on whether or not the Bolts or the Titans would win
Oh,
their
okay.
last set between each other, and the Bolts ended up winning. So
That's a
that
win.
one's a win.
Ooh,
But
there
yeah,
were less points in win too. That means the winners are about to come up a little
Who
bit.
was I watching watch
Yeah.
that?
probably me. I was doing a watch party of it yesterday.
It was you, yeah.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
was-
there's a lot of things that you can do for sure to keep your viewers engaged, most certainly. And I think that viewer points, channel points, like my channel points are pretty great in my opinion. I will write people songs, which I got to work on that today as well a little bit, because we now have 3 song redemptions to do, and I'm gonna end up doing basically just a music stream, probably on Monday, I'm guessing. But which should be fine. I should have plenty of time to hit 70 before that happens on World of Warcraft, so that's okay.
important things.
Yeah, no kidding. But like, being able to do things like that where I will write people a song about a topic of their choosing. I've written people songs about going to the bookstore. I've written people love songs. I've written people songs about my own experiences. I wrote a song about missing auto attacks in Smite. Currently on the slate, I have to write a song. One I've already written. That's Crystals that she redeemed. I finished that one. I'm working on Kinasu's song that she redeemed. She's one of my mods. She wants a song about meeting your, the love of your life in a video game, or like over a video game, basically. Because that's actually how her and her boyfriend met, is like they met in Minecraft,
You can
And-
make an album or something. That would be some sweet content.
It'd be-
Like a little EP.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be rad.
And the last one that I'm doing is about a bunny.
Is that
Yeah.
the name of the song? Because that's a sick name for a song.
Huh?
About
Well,
a bunny.
it might be.
About a bunny.
The song might be about a bunny. That might be what we call it. Who knows? But I mean, it's about one of my viewers, Miko. She has a bunny, and it's adorable, and I love it. And she wants me to write a song about it, and I'm like, done, easy. I love bunnies, anyways. So
That's
you're
fun.
you're good to go. That's gonna be fantastic.
That's an
Um,
excellent channel point reward, honestly. That's
It
like
is.
very creative and unique.
Yeah,
That's how I started out in comedy. I was a musical comedian first.
really, Bo Burnham
Mhm.
I didn't
That
know
is-
that.
type
Uh,
vibes.
Kind of, yeah. More Stephen Lynch. I don't know if anybody knows who he is.
I do not know Stephen Lynch. Say
I don't know. either.
Acoustic guitar mostly,
nice.
Oh, okay.
and yeah, This was when I was living in Japan. I was working on a mountain resort for the last little bit, and when I left, everybody who had worked there asked a coworker of mine and I to play a concert as kind of a going away thing.
Mhm.
And we spent a lot of time together. We trained the same martial arts. We played table tennis together, that kind of stuff. And people joked about us being a couple. So for our concert that we played, we did a lot of covers and stuff, but we rewrote a song about what it would be like if we were a couple. And after we had finished doing that writing session, I went, that's a lot of fun. I wonder if I have other things I could write a song about. And I wrote a song about my father coming out of the closet, which is an event that happened in my life.
Dude, that wow.
And people loved that song. And I immediately, the first time somebody laughed at the first joke that hit in that song, I went, oh, I want more of that.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah,
it coming. So
dude.
when I came back to Canada, I started writing more and more songs. And then when I went to university, I switched my styles, and then I became a storytelling comedian. And I almost regret doing it. I'm glad that I got the skill for it.
Mhm.
But the reason that I did it is because other comedians that I had worked with started calling me a gimmick comedian, and I let that get in my brain hole. So, so I went,
okay.
I can do what you're doing then, and then I switched.
Yeah. And Jason, I did say that I would do
So-
one for you for free as well. Just a heads up, because they're asking about songs. But on Monday, if you come through, potentially I'll do it for you there.
I'm excited
But I
to hear
mean-
these. I kept looking at that, and I always wondered how or what kind of songs you meant when it said "Sing me a song."
Oh, for Sing Me a Song, that one is 20,000 channel points, and if it's mainstream enough and I know the song, I'll just play and sing it for you on stream. I say.
Oh,
And then there's
Look up
Write
the
Me a
tabs
Song,
real quick.
yeah,
which is 50,000. Yes, yeah. And it's got to be chords. People are like, play Thunderstruck, play Through the Fire and Flames. I'm like, no, I'm not talented in that way. I can play
Thunderstruck.
tabs if I practice. You know, I could put the
do
time in, but
tapping of Thunderstruck.
Yeah,
but
Thunderstruck's tapping is pretty fluid once
Easy.
you get the hang of it. Yeah.
yeah. But again, like I can't just look at it and immediately like do it. I have to practice
Right.
it a little bit because most of what I
Yeah.
play is chords. You know, I do a little
Right.
bit of like plucking and stuff like that, but like and like reading the tabs and doing that. But I would have to practice it a lot more than I do currently. And most of what I do is just
Yeah.
playing and singing. So that's and like aside from like the play me a song, write me a song, that sort of thing, like channel point reward options. One of the other things that I do is like write the person's name on my face for 30,000 channel
on your
points.
brain yesterday.
Yeah. That's Rhythologies. His name is Kenny, and he wanted that written across my forehead. And that's just something cool to like, make them feel their identity being a little bit closer to my stream too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a representation of them and being like, hey, on your face. You know what I mean? And people like that. People vibe with like, themselves being represented in another like different way on the stream. And I think a lot of
Dude,
people really enjoy that.
My name's on your face.
Exactly. Like it's a cool thing to see.
Yeah, it's cool. It is cool.
Yeah, one of my viewers, Trey, actually, when I had his name written on my face, he screenshotted it and made it his Discord profile picture for a couple of days, and
Yeah, there you
he was
go.
having some fun with that. And it's just like a cool thing to do, It's a good meme.
It's a personal connection for a moment there,
Yeah, exactly. So, how do you keep your gameplay exciting, and how do you fill in the empty space? Say either one of you who wants to take this one. I mean, there's a lot of times when you're just gaming and there's just like not a whole lot that's happening. So how do you take those times and just make it interesting anyways? What do you do to fill in that void? And similarly, how do you take just the game, because everybody's streaming the same game that you're streaming. I mean, at this point, unless you're in like a viewer graveyard of a game that hasn't been played since 1998 and that nobody's watching, there's a lot of other people playing too. What are you doing to set yourself apart from the rest of the crowd?
I mean, in my experience, what I like to do, if I'm, for example, if I'm playing Pogo Stuck and I'm stuck on this certain area for, pretty much the whole stream and I keep falling and I'm tired of getting mad, but I want something to talk about, I'll just say things either, if people are talking in chat, I'll just continue to talk to chat, interact with them. But if I'm not seeing much chat or whatever, then I'll just start telling stories. I'll say an interesting thing that happened in my day, or I'll even, sometimes I'll think of something that happened last week and I'll just be like, oh, the craziest thing happened to me today, but it actually happened last week. Like, I just try to keep it fresh and interesting. It's all true stuff. Sometimes the time that it happened is a little construed, but it's all right. It really happened, I promise.
You're already a stand-up comedian. That is
Yeah.
exactly how that goes.
Yeah.
Yep. You just
And
talked about
sometimes
life.
Something that happened last month that you say, it actually happened 3 or
It
4 years
happened
ago.
yesterday or 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
It literally happened 30 minutes from right now.
Yeah.
I
I
was 10
promise.
when it happened.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
That's what I like to do to keep empty space exciting. If the game isn't as like engaging as I'd like it to be.
Storytelling, that's or talking to chat. I also have this dumb habit of singing what I'm doing.
Hmm.
If I'm playing a game and it's been particularly struggly for me, I will start to sing about my struggles in said game.
I like it. I love that energy, honestly. Like
that
I
is
think
good.
that's really cool, and that's actually something that I've considered doing too. Like I've been watching another streamer, and his name's the Barboosh, and he's another Smite streamer. He's he plays on controller, but against PC lobbies, and he's in like Masters or Grandmasters right now or something like that. A really really good player. I mean, and he'll just randomly sing all the time. And I love music, and I'm just so self-conscious about my singing. Even with the play me a song, write me a song reward, like singing makes me so incredibly self-conscious. It really does, like no matter how many times people tell me that they like it or that they love my voice or something like that, like I can hear every time I'm off by just even a little bit. And it just like my mental state just deteriorates when I hear it happen. And like, it still makes me so nervous, but like at the same time, I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, man, I just want to sing. Like just while I'm doing whatever, just like kind of let it out, just let stuff go. And like, I wish that I could do that more. Like, and it's something that I'm working up to, and I think I'll get there eventually. But like the singing about what you're playing and stuff like that, I think that can be so fun and entertaining. Like, I think that's a really good idea, Rance. Honestly.
I agree. It comes back. It goes back to your musical roots, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that.
I get the self-consciousness though, because I've also had a channel rewards for me to play one of my original songs,
Mm-hmm.
and I've upped the point value so many times, or I've just taken it down because I'm like, I am not ready to sing on.
It's
Even though
nerve
I used to
wracking.
do this on stage for money, I'm like, I don't want to sing in front of these people.
Yeah, it's nerve wracking. You know, the internet can be ruthless. There are so many people who are so kind and like so friendly and supportive and stuff like that, but at the same time, like the internet can be just like cutthroat sometimes and relentless, and they will tell you like, oh hey, like just a heads up, that kind of sucked. And I was actually in a voice
Oh,
call.
all right.
I was
them being kind about it.
Yeah, no kidding. I was in a voice call with another viewer one time, and I was talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, some of the songs like that you play, like for the most part, I really like it, like I love it, but sometimes I'm like, that doesn't sound at all like the original song," and like,
It's
and
not a
I was like, well,
Cover. Come on.
well, and here's the thing, like I transpose songs into a key that I can play and sing it in, like every single time I play something.
Yeah.
Like immediately, that's the first thing that I do, so that way I'm not like out here trying to, like, you know what I mean, like hit that like high note that's way too high and just like screech my voice the whole time. Like I'm not actually trying to sing the high notes on the way that "Take on Me" is originally played when I play that song. That's not going to happen. There's just no way that I can hit that note. You know what I mean? And so I transpose songs. And I was trying to my best to explain it, but at the same time, like when I play it, yeah, that doesn't sound like the original song. And like even hearing that, I was just like, oh gosh, am I screwing up? Like, you know what I mean?
No.
And it was literally just discussion about the music, but in my head, you know, that's where it takes me. And I think
I got
sometimes you
Agita.
can.
That's what you should do. If you
Yeah.
can't sing in that key, you do
Bring it to a
exactly
key
what
you
you're
can.
doing. Yeah, that I don't. Nah, you
I
sound
got
great,
Agita
Vince.
the first half of that sentence when you were explaining, when he said, most of the songs you do, I like. The moment you said that, my whole body was like, oh God, it's going to get so much worse from here.
Yeah. And it wasn't bad at all, but even something as light as that, like, you know, one of the weirdest things about streaming is the mind games, you know? Like just that you play with yourself when you're streaming. The amount of times that you look at what you're doing and you're just like, oh my gosh, something didn't go as well today. There wasn't as many viewers. People weren't as interactive. People weren't enjoying the content as much. What am I doing wrong? And sometimes it's nothing that you're doing wrong.
And you have to be able to recognize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier, going back, watching your VODs and, kind of examining what you did wrong. And sometimes the answer is, I did great.
Did
And there was
great.
just nobody there,
Yeah.
or nobody was in the mood to chat. And sometimes that happens. It's a bad day. Move on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
yes.
realistically, until you get up to like the 1 to 5,000 viewer range, I will say, like for the most part, like unless obviously, and I think for the most part, people are self-aware enough who are streamers that like they can tell when they're doing something wrong. I would say until
Yeah.
you get to that point, if you have less viewers than usual for a day, it happens. You know,
It does happen.
people get busy. People have lives. Your stream is not their lives. And that was one of the hardest things for me to recognize when I was like in my like really rapid growth stage, because some days it was like, oh my gosh, this is really happening, and then other days it was like, oh my gosh, I need to find another option. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just that constant battle of like, is this working? Is this not working? And even on the days when I look at it and I'm like, oh, maybe something I'm doing is wrong, I take a step back and I'm like, I never even thought I would have as many viewers as I have on my bad days.
Right.
Genuinely, like I never would have imagined that I would make it to this point. And you have to like have that self-awareness to recognize that sometimes people just get busy.
Yeah.
You know, it's not
Right.
about you sucking as a content creator. It's not you needing to reinvent the wheel or change yourself for what you're doing. It's about people have lives, and you got to appreciate that.
Yeah, that kind of comes back to the whole thing you were talking about earlier, where people aren't just numbers;
Yeah.
they're people with lives. That every username is an individual, and they're doing stuff. They can't always be there in your stream.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why whenever I get rated or I get hosted or anything like that, no matter how many people it is, like I get excited when people just host me with their own channel for no viewers, just because they're offline and they want to host my channel. Like that means the world to me, because I don't
Yeah.
care how many viewers you have on your channel. The idea that you like my content enough to put it out there in front of your audience as well and say, I endorse this streamer, basically. I mean, that means the world to me. I mean,
Yeah.
if you raid me with 2 people and bring them into my stream, that means the world to me. you know? Because that means that you like me and my content enough to say, hey, come watch this guy, he's great, you know? And that matters. That freaking matters, you know? Like no matter how many people you get rated for. And I would say it's actually more valuable when you get rated by less people, because for the most part, when you get rated by a big streamer, the people who are watching the big streamer just ended their stream, you know? Like there'll be times where you get rated for 300 people and 300 people immediately leave. But you get rated by 6 people and 6 people hang out and talk to you in your chat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's so invaluable. And like getting to build those connections and those relationships with other people, it's beautiful. It's awesome. And I think that a lot of people, when they start to grow, get a little bit lost in the numbers of, you know, who's raiding their channel and stuff like that, and forget that, again, that's an individual right there that's in your stream hanging out with you.
I think
To
that's a
speak on
very
the-
important thing to remember.
Yeah.
Everyone is a person, you know?
Yeah.
To speak on the where you said you like if somebody even hosts you with 0 viewers, because it means that they are endorsing your brand for their community. There's a thing that we say on my channel every time somebody hosts or raids or even follows, you know, it was a nice thing to do that they didn't have to do, but they did it anyway.
Yep.
And that's exactly what that is they didn't have to host you. They didn't have to show you off to their human friends.
Mhm.
But they decided to, and that's meaningful.
Yeah.
Even if it seems small to them.
Very true. And I've actually, like, since I was on your channel and heard you say that, I've said that a couple of times. Like, since I've been hearing you say that, because it's so true. Like, I love it. Like, when I hear people say things like that just stand out to me, and I'm like, you could not be more right. Like, there's literally no way for me to better represent that thought and that emotion when it happens. I am completely shameless about the fact that I'm like, I got this from you, just a heads up. Like, and I'm going to borrow this, because hearing you say it, like, just makes so much sense to me on a personal level. Like,
It's in the public domain.
yeah, you're so
Yeah.
right. You know, you're completely right. They don't have to do these things, and they choose to. It's just like your viewers don't have to come to your channel and support you and watch you or sub or follow or anything. They choose to, you know? And it's not like they owe it to you on the days that they're not watching, to be clear. So don't feel bad about it when people don't come through your stream every day. But at the same time, you know, was I on Smite instead of talk shows and podcasts? Am I the worst?
I didn't want to interrupt
Say,
your
yeah,
thought. I was
thank
waiting
you,
Got
for
some
thank
you
you.
to
hot
complete.
action going.
Yeah. Thank you, Teddy. But like that's what we're working with. So I think that realistically, you know, it's important to realize that you don't have to, you know, sweat every single thing that isn't the same as it was yesterday if yesterday was amazing. You know? You gotta
Yeah.
accept that sometimes things are going to be different. People won't always be able to make it to every single stream. People won't always be able to talk as much in your chat. People won't be able to be as active, you know? And like, for me personally, I recently sent out mod applications, and that's not because any of my mods are doing a bad job. It's because I had one day where I was streaming and I didn't have a mod in there. And I was like, and that's been my metric for, are we able to, you know, like do it with the current mods that we have or not? And if my mods get busy, they don't owe it to me to be in my chat.
Yeah, it's not their fault that they can't be there.
Exactly. I would love it for them to be in my chat all the time, obviously. I love all of my mods and they do incredible work, but if we need extra help, I'm going to get them extra help. That's how I see it. So the second that we have a day where not everybody can do that or something like that, that's where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my job and get us more help. You know? So change the things that need to be changed, but don't sweat it if things are going just fine and you have one bad day. Absolutely.
Right.
Well said. Yeah.
So,
I think that sums it up.
how would you say that your skill level affects your stream and entertainment value? Because we did touch a little bit on, you know, like how good or bad you are at a game, you know, determining how entertaining you have to be versus not entertaining, because obviously you have people like Shroud who are crack shots who can say and do pretty much whatever they want and not care about a single person in their community, you know, and people are still going to watch because he's cracked out of his mind,
Absolutely.
you know?
Oh yeah.
So, go
I
ahead,
think
Devin.
with this, it's give and take. You know, kind of like you just said. If you're really good at a game, you probably don't have to put too much effort into being like a very entertaining or funny or whatever type of individual. But if you're not very good at something, you probably have to put a lot more effort into like your personality, because that's what people are going to be coming in for instead of you being actually good at the game you're playing. You know.
Mhm.
But there's also that happy balance where you can be like kind of good at a game and it makes up for your personality a little bit, or vice versa. So like your personality makes up for the poor gameplay. I think it just depends on who you are. I don't skill level is negligible. It you can be bad or good and still be a good streamer.
It's a tool. Your skill level is a tool in your streaming arsenal, and how you use it is up to you. If you have a very low skill level in the game you're playing, you can still use that to your benefit, but you have to be able to play off of that low skill level. And a lot of people see that as you have to have a more entertaining personality, which you can be cracked at a game and have an entertaining personality, but a lot of times you don't have to, like you said. But you can still use that to your asset. You can use your crackness and start making jokes on that end or entertainment on that end of the spectrum. And
Yeah.
if your skill level is like mine, you got to make jokes on the opposite end.
Yeah, absolutely. And one question that we had in chat was, what about raid versus host after the stream? Which is better and why? I would say that raiding is typically better after a stream, and hosting is better if you're currently not live. Pretty much what hosting does is it allows people to see your channel on, like, so if I were to host someone while I was not live, it would allow my viewers to go to my channel and see that person live. But when they talk in chat, it talks in my chat. It doesn't talk in that person's chat. When you raid someone at the end of your stream, it basically takes your viewers and dumps them into another person's stream, and your chat becomes their chat. So even in my Streamlabs OBS, when I have it up on the side, after I raid somebody, the chat that I type into my own Streamlabs OBS on my computer is that person's chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like that's pretty much the difference between the two. I would recommend raiding people at the end of your stream versus hosting, just to make it a lot easier for your viewers to go over there and talk and chat and stuff like that, for those of them that want to. So that's the discrepancy there. But, you know, and Kinasu asked, okay, so what if I both suck at games and have no personality? Well, you got to find something else.
Then,
I said you're screwed.
yeah, you
I'm sorry.
gotta find a gimmick.
Yeah,
Pretty
or
much.
that, yeah, gimmick or whatever. You could still figure it out. You could work
Yeah.
on your personality
No,
or
I was
get
gonna say.
better at your game. It's not all handed to you, you know?
Absolutely. And like one of the biggest gimmicks on Twitch right now is obviously the hot tub streaming thing, you know? Like, I mean, and obviously a bit of a controversial topic for a lot of reasons, but at the same time, I mean, the people who do the hot tub streams, you know? Like, to be someone that most of the people want to watch, you have to be relatively attractive to be able to like get on there and make money doing that. And the amount of time and effort that gets put in to like making sure that you're staying fit, you know, and that people want to look at you if that's what they're looking at you for and that's the only entertainment value that's there, you know? Like, even that is a lot of work and effort. And I mean, I'm
putting work into their stream.
Exactly. And I'm not going to look at that and disregard that or say that they didn't take a lot of time and effort putting it into that, looking the way that they look or doing the things that they do. And I'm not going to write that off as no effort content because that's hard, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially since I've stopped doing physical work for my job, I've definitely gained weight. I'm like, I don't know how people like get this determined when it's just not part of their everyday routine to like stay as fit as they do and eat healthy and do all these things. It is difficult, you know? And I've got a lot of respect. It definitely is, you know? and on top of that, like, you know, taking all of the time to set up a hot tub inside of your house with a cam setup and a mic setup and all that stuff, like all of the technology near water, that makes me nervous. I have a lid and a straw in my cup right now because of how nervous it makes me to have open liquids near my technology. Like,
take a page out of your book, man. I've been spilling way too much lately.
Lately, you are King Spill.
Oh gosh,
Spillville.
It's true. I spill so much.
Yeah. Devin exposed. But I mean, like, the amount of effort that goes into something like that and recognizing, you know, the space in the market that you can make money here, you know, it's they put a lot of time and effort to being in the right place at the right time. So even if you're someone who is bad at games and has absolutely no personality, there are other things that you can explore, but I would say your best bet is probably to not pursue streaming, realistically, you know, unless you're willing to put the time and the effort in to either become god tier at video games or, you know, accept that your personality needs to change on some level.
Yeah, or you need to find a way to turn that zero personality into an entertaining persona.
Yeah.
Which is wildly difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And
a gimmick, a strong gimmick. A lot of people do that.
Need a shtick.
Definitely.
Shtick, yep.
And unfortunately, like this might sting for some people, but genuinely, one of the best pieces of advice that I can give someone is streaming is not for everybody. And there's nobody that wants to hear that voice when they're trying to learn or they're trying to grow or they're excited about streaming or they're like, oh yeah, I can totally do this. The facts are, not everybody can do this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is just the cold hard fact at the end of the day is it is not for everybody. Like you have to really look at yourself and do some self-examination and some self-growth and recognize whether or not you have what it takes to pursue this, you know? Or you need to accept the fact that you just like recording your gameplay and interacting with people and it's a hobby.
Yeah.
If you're okay, never like experiencing serious growth or anything like that, or never trying to take it seriously and just doing it for fun, awesome. You know, awesome, incredible. But realistically, the majority of people will never make it out of the like 0 viewer graveyard.
Right.
Pretty crazy.
It's any
I
job.
feel very
Any
grateful.
jobs are hard, and not everybody can do every job.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
this is a particularly difficult one that takes a lot out of you emotionally, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah, most definitely. And like the along with that piece of advice, like you said, like it can take a lot of out of you emotionally. Like don't ever let it get to the point where you are beating yourself up over the fact that you're not growing either.
Right.
You know? Because it's incredibly hard. It's
not worth it.
incredibly difficult, And do not measure your self-worth based on how well your stream is doing for sure. Because I've heard people say all the time that like streaming has been one of the best things for their mental health, on the weeks when it's going good. And then on the weeks where it's not going good, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm giving up streaming forever. I hate myself. I'm not worth it. I'm not worth anything.
No job is
can't-
worth your self-worth.
Exactly.
Yeah, nah.
Exactly.
You can't be so dependent on it.
Yeah. And Twitch can absolutely be one of the greatest things for your mental health because you
Yeah.
get to meet so many other awesome people and you get to make friends and you get to share your experiences with people and it's great. But it's not that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's easier said than done to just be like, don't let it get to you. But like, really, it really helps if you try to not let it get to you. I promise.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. So, did you both answer the how does your skill level affect your stream or entertainment value question? Did you
Yes.
both touch on that?
I did.
Rants? Okay, I just
Yeah,
wanted
I
to make sure
believe
that
we
you
both
both
did.
had that like fully fleshed out as much as you want. I would say for me, like my skill level actually pretty heavily affects my stream entertainment value. Because I can tell that like the games that I'm doing good, people tend to be having a little bit more fun. Because I'm having a little bit more fun,
Right.
Like the games that I'm performing well and things are happening and it's exciting and I'm making plays, like that's a good time. That's a good time
You
for
look
everybody.
over in chat and you see a big old "Let's go."
Yeah, exactly. You
Let's
love that.
go.
Like you love that hype and you love that energy for sure. And like I would say that like my skill level, while not the most important thing about my stream, it definitely plays a part. Especially when I was playing Dark Souls, Because like I've played all the Dark Souls games a little bit, but I made it on the most recent playthrough of Dark Souls that I was playing. I got the farthest I've ever gotten in Dark Souls 1. Like Dark Souls 1 was one of the harder ones that I played because it was the first one that I played, and then the second and third ones came out, and in my opinion they were easier. And I made it significantly farther in those. But it was basically my first playthrough of Dark Souls 1. But having my experience from the other Souls games helped me so much going back to that first one. And I was making some great progress on my first playthrough. And like I think that people enjoyed the fact that I could take the advice that they were giving me, because I don't like complete backseating or spoilers or anything like that. But I think that the people who were coming in and trying to like give me tips and stuff like that enjoyed that I knew enough about the game to take that and apply it.
Yeah.
Because if I had been completely clueless about Dark Souls and I had no clue how to block or anything like that, and I didn't know about immunity frames and on dodge rolling and like stats on my weapons and gear and stuff like that, like I feel like the people who were coming in and trying to talk to me about the game would have enjoyed it a lot less. But going in with just a little bit of that prior knowledge and understanding about Dark Souls, I think really brought a little bit extra to the stream and let people understand, or like at least identify with my understanding a little bit more.
Do you think
Yeah.
that the second and third one, Dark Souls, were more easy because of intended difficulty changes or mechanical improvements?
Both, honestly. I think that realistically, like as a whole, like it or not, games are getting more casual.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it is what it is. They're trying to make it so that as many people can experience the content as possible.
To sell more copies, you got to make it more accessible to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was it might be Final Fantasy 14, but it was one of the big like MMOs that isn't World of Warcraft. It was say either Lord of the Rings Online, Final Fantasy 14, Guild Wars 2, or Elder Scrolls Online. One of those is adding in like a difficulty slider for open world content for the MMO game itself, to make it easier for people to do like while they're out in the world. I feel like it might have been Lord of the Rings Online, like that. Like it's weird that one came into my head because that's not one of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
But like games are getting easier, So I would definitely say that it was definitely mechanical improvements for sure, and then on top of that, just games are getting more casual for a reason. People want to be able to experience Dark Souls, but a lot of people will never get past the first boss in the game. There are some people who won't get past the first 10 mobs.
Sure.
It is what it
That's
is.
me. I would never. I gotta try that game. I
What do
still
you mean you would
I
never?
want to do it.
You live for you
I'm pretty
punish yourself for
persistent.
yeah.
I probably would, but we'll see. I
Yeah,
gotta play that game.
yeah, absolutely. Um, when there are not that many people, I like to be super goofy because no one will know. And I would say, I saw that message and I wanted to point it out because I would say that being goofy can be one of the best parts of your identity, honestly. Um,
Absolutely.
like I actually found Game on Rene's stream through another streamer named Fortified, and I went into her channel and like one of the first things I told her, her laugh is contagious. Like some people, you
No.
just go in there and like they just have that laugh about them. You know what I mean? Like when they're happy about something and they're excited about something, like you can't help but get happy and excited about it. You know, people say the same thing about me when I get hyped about something. You know, because like especially in day to day life, like when I'm streaming, it's easy for me to get hyped about games and stuff like that. But when I get passionate about something, like in the day to day world, you know, about stuff that I don't usually give two cares about, like people are like, dude, he's getting hyped. It's hype. Like you
Yeah,
know it's hype if he's getting hyped.
I relate to that. I feel that when Vince gets hyped, I feel hype. It must be deserving of hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If Vince is feeling that way about it, for
Yeah.
There,
sure.
speaking of goofy, there's a streamer that I used to live with in 2008.
Mhm.
We worked my first bartending job in 2007 was at a Red Lobster.
Nice.
And we worked together at that Red Lobster, but we ended up living together. Is Ninja Monkey. And
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
up until pandemic hit, he was an actor, a stage actor,
Mm.
and is one of the goofiest presences I've ever been around. Cartoonishly so, and it's wonderful. And they bring that goofiness onto stream, no matter how many people are there. And
Yeah.
like you said, it's one of those things that you love to see.
yeah, that's great. I like that.
Yeah. People live for it. Most definitely. And then Vips also said, I think the number one tip for streaming if you want growth is to make your Twitch YouTube friendly, and then make the YouTube videos out of that, as YouTube has a million times more likely for you to hit the algorithm than in Twitch. And there's a lot of talk about how much better it is for discoverability on YouTube compared to Twitch. And every metric, every statistic that I've seen shows the same thing. I think that's one of the most consistent statistics, I think, is that YouTube in general is better for discoverability on Twitch. But Devin, I want your opinion on this specifically as someone who makes a lot of YouTube content as well. And a lot of your streams are for YouTube content.
Yeah. I for me, it's always been another avenue of growth. I mean, if I can stream something and then also turn whatever I'm streaming into a TikTok video or a YouTube video or even like a little clip on Twitter or something, the more content you're directing to other platforms, the more discoverability you're gaining. Because if you just stream on Twitch, you can be successful just streaming on Twitch, but your chances are a lot lower. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So like
It's
the more you get out there, the more you better your odds, essentially, really. So, and then I also love YouTube. YouTube's great. YouTube's so much fun. I love editing. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
yeah, I agree
Y-
with that.
Twitch is not a platform that is great for searching for people. Nobody goes on Twitch and tries to find a new stream.
Yeah.
You go to the left
Yeah.
bar and go, who do I already know that is streaming? I'm going to click one of those links. And, if they raid somebody and then you go into that and you go, oh, I enjoy this, that's a way. But
Yeah.
outside of that, I'm not hitting the browse Valorant and I'm trying to find a new Valorant stream every day. That's not something that I do. So if you want to
Nah.
bring people to your Twitch, YouTube, like you said, but even Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, some other vein is probably a better way to try to bring people into your Twitch stream.
100%. That's why I really started doing YouTube is like, I mean, it was kind of because I wanted to just edit and post YouTube videos in general, but then, thinking about it statistically, it's like this is a good option. If I have time for this and I can do it, I'm going to make a YouTube video every week cuz you never know. YouTube it's way more attractive and things can go viral on YouTube. You never
Mhm.
know. You never know.
Yeah.
Boys, I
Absolutely.
have to make an emergency break really quick. I'm about to explode.
Oh yeah,
Is
you're
that
fine.
okay?
Yeah,
All
no
right, I'll
worries,
be
no
right
worries.
back.
We're probably getting close to closing anyways, so you're more than fine on that. But yes, Vips, Rance does indeed have a glorious mustache. Yeah, yeah. For anyone who's listening, it's probably worth going back to watch the VOD just to see this man's mustache and his fantastic attire in general. He's knocked it out of the park today for the podcast. So
Just
um,
happy to be here.
yeah, most definitely. YouTube is great for speedrunning, to be honest. People just fall upon it and like seeing it, and if they're really interested, then they'll find the stream, and that's very true. I would say a lot of the people that I watch do speedrunning on Twitch, I'll go check out their YouTube channel, and their YouTube subscription base is way higher than their Twitch
Mhm.
following. And even being able to watch people do the splits live, like it's so interesting. Like to be able to be there and be a part of it when the world record run potentially is happening, but how many runs are in between
Yeah.
your personal best run and the potential world record run? I mean, there's a lot of downtime in between for sure. And I mean, going back to the difficulty thing in Dark Souls and stuff like that, like Vips mentioned, Sekiro was more difficult than the Dark Souls games, and I would definitely agree with that. But again, like the fact that you have one example for the most part, like, I mean, I'm sure there's a few other games that have come out that are difficult in the same way, but I would say the overwhelming majority of games are getting easier, as opposed to getting harder, if that makes sense.
It's a niche market, and there
Yeah.
will always be games that are made to fill that niche, like Sekiro. But
Yeah.
in the broader spectrum of things, games are getting
Easier.
less difficult.
Yeah.
And also, to speak on Sekiro, I think a lot of reason why, especially Soulsborne players, found it more difficult is because in Dark Souls and that series, the main mechanic of defense is dodging.
Yeah.
And in Sekiro, the main mechanic of defense is parrying. And I
Hmm.
think there's a mental block where something's coming at you and you want to dodge roll, and that leaves you vulnerable in one game, whereas in Dark Souls, it's your main tool.
Yeah. So maybe the difficulty level is similar. It's just that the mechanics that you're supposed to be doing on a regular basis are different.
Yeah.
And that makes it
community who
harder.
likes the difficult games is already used to one mechanic.
So they put a lot of emphasis and importance on something else to try to give it a new level of difficulty or a new level of advancement. And I would even say that once you learn to parry well in Sekiro, that can help you as you go back to playing the other Dark Souls games. And now you have other options when you might not be able to hit the immunity frames on that dodge roll, and now you can parry instead.
Right.
So I mean, that's excellent. That's really excellent. So for anybody who wants to, just a heads up, as we're kind of finalizing our thoughts and our questions on this, if you have any questions for us or anything like that, or you want us to talk about something, feel free to throw that in the chat right now. Just a heads up. Did y'all have any closing thoughts on this idea that streaming a game is only step one? I mean, we start out with obviously going live, and where do we go from there? Did you want to add anything else on that in closing to what we're talking about today?
I think an overarching theme of it is the back end part of streaming is what brings people to you, and working on yourself while you're streaming or outside of the stream, so that when you're streaming, you're producing more entertaining quality or entertaining content is what keeps people there.
Yeah.
So it's the game is step one. Drawing people in from other platforms is a step to get people in, and working on yourself is a way to keep them.
Absolutely.
I
There's
agree.
a lot of steps
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. Roach said actually having a mic. I'll say, and yeah.
No.
I'll
Knowing
say,
how to make a shitty mic work is also possible.
well, just having a mic.
Oh, yes.
Actually having a mic and a webcam. I
With
mean,
streaming, it's probably pretty important to at least have a mic.
yeah.
I mean, it would be pretty interesting to see someone just stream with a camera. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Learn how to
but
sign.
yeah, it'd be unique for sure.
Yeah. Sign language would be a pretty niche audience for sure.
Yeah. I think, you could even that would be a good episode to refer to as far as like next steps go. One of our older episodes, like finding your niche
Yeah.
on Twitch.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Joe also asked, how important is a good mic/camera? Is that helpful but not necessary? I would say one of the most important aspects of streaming is having both a mic and a camera. If you do have a bad mic, find out how you can adjust settings and how you can mess around with it to make it sound better, filter out the background noise a little bit, that sort of thing. But like the amount of attachment that people have to seeing something here, like just having the attachment of you being able to look over, you know what I mean? Notice when you're looking over, see how you're reacting, see when you wave, see when you get excited, see when you get sad, see when you get annoyed, like all those things, like let them identify with you so much stronger. It lets them get attached to you so much more, like on a personal level. And even if it's a VTube thing, where just so that there's a representation of you that they can identify with, just so that when they think, who is just Vince, an image pops into their mind, Like I would say,
reverse what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I would say like for growth specifically, like being able to associate an image with who you are is so important. Like it's part of your brand, is being who you
Yep.
are.
We were talking
Face,
about members
yeah.
of chat being real people that we need to remember are people, so we treat them accordingly and not as numbers. People in chat, it's easy to forget that the game you're watching has a person behind it,
Yeah.
but the webcam makes it easy. And you can have a shitty webcam and use lighting to make that shitty webcam look good.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be breaking the bank. Rather than forking out $500-$600 on a new webcam or a camera, with a cam link, you're starting to get to $1,000 range. Spend $20 on an umbrella light, put it behind your bad webcam, get rid of all the light in the rest of the room. And I'm using a C910. It's not a great camera. It's okay, but it
I
looks
think
much
your
better
camera
because of
looks
lighting.
great. I was gonna say something about that earlier. You have a very nice. I feel like it looks very crisp.
Yes.
It's all lighting.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Very true, because the camera is just trying to pretty much like take in whatever it can see in front of it. So if you have bad lighting, it misses a whole bunch of features. Like it'll constantly be like missing shading on your face and stuff like that, and like you won't be able to see it well unless you're well lit, so your camera can take that information in and reflect it on your screen. So yeah, good lighting is incredibly important. Kinasu asked, "What I'd really like to know is how amazing facial hair plays in, especially since we have 3 different kinds of people in this broadcast." I say,
Yeah,
dude,
we got a little baby face, we got a beard, and
Listen,
we got
I
an
can-
old timey villain.
yeah,
I can grow my
we have
facial
Waluigi.
hair, okay? My facial hair is capable. I shave my face. I shave it often. In No Shave November last time, guys. I had a full beard going. It was great.
Yeah.
But who
I
would want
actually
to hide
grow
such
a
a
lot
handsome
of facial
face?
hair. Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He's so pretty. I
Wait,
need
what?
to supplement my face with this thing.
I
Yeah.
think I might go. Even before the podcast today, I shaved my face yesterday, and I was looking at myself, and I was like, maybe I should leave the mustache on. Just try it out at least once.
I would say 9 times out of 10. If your question is, should I leave the mustache on? The answer is no.
Come on,
the
dude.
the one
Come
exception to should you leave the mustache on that I've seen in the last few years has been Rance Prees.
I'm gonna do it.
That
I'm
has
gonna
been
do it.
that
I'm
has
gonna
been
see
the
how it
one
ends up.
exception to that general rule. To be clear,
Within like 3 weeks, we'll be back on the Give me 3 weeks, and it'll be noticeable. Okay, maybe if that. We'll
Yeah.
see.
All
I'm
right.
gonna get it going. Watch.
also
I'm on board to be grossed out.
like Julian of Jenna and Julian, if you know who that is, he also streams on Twitch. He's got a banging mustache. It's great. Like there's
Jenna.
Marbles, yeah,
Jenna
her,
Marble? Okay, that's what I
yeah.
thought. I didn't want to.
she doesn't do content anymore, so like he's
Yeah.
got a pretty good mustache. And you can pull it off, but there's a lot of awkward in between stages.
It's not great.
As far as my own facial hair, I mean, I still to this day have people who come by the stream who I don't even think care about Smite anymore. I had a guy come in yesterday. He was just like, "Dude, good to see you. The beard's looking great, man. Keep it up." And like it's not something that everybody's gonna love, but the people who are about it are all the way about it. Like I would honestly equivalent would say that facial hair is almost like the aesthetic equivalent of like BTS. It's something that's like a little bit niche, but the people who are about like the K-pop band BTS, they are all the way about it. Like they are full send, like they love it to death. They will like die on that hill 1,000 times in support of it. Like people who are about facial hair are about it, and they love it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the people that are about your beard or Rance's mustache, they're with it for
You just
sure.
also have to be
That is an
prepared to not be
identifying
allowed.
feature.
Yeah, you just need to be prepared to not be allowed within 100 yards of any school.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's kind of what you're looking at.
You grow a mustache, you get put on a list.
Yeah, no kidding. There's a lot of like
I'm having second thoughts now.
Dude, and see, that's why I was like 9 out of 10 times. I'm telling you, the mustache does not work. But at the same time,
I gotta try it once, just one time. Maybe in November for No Shave November again. Except shaving everything but the mustache. So.
Then everybody else is doing it, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Then we're all on a list. So
yeah, we're all
works out.
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mustache is a firefighter thing. You're not wrong. That might be. I like now that I think about it. Like I read that and I'm like, you're not wrong.
In the 90s and early 2000s, for sure as well.
Yeah.
Firefighters and
Cops, or even I don't. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud on the pod. Never mind.
Yeah, we're good. It's okay. I would
Right.
say
You understand.
yeah, I would say a lot of like you guys are debating like the value of having a webcam on Twitch, and I would say that like literally like 99.99% of the time, it is better to have a webcam.
Yeah, there'll always be outliers, but
Yeah. Yeah, like if you put no effort and time into your webcam and it's basically you, like just like full on, like in the chair, slouched all the way down at a bad angle, and it's just like you're just like here, like this, and you're literally not interacting, don't have a cam, sure. You know what I mean? You're bringing nothing to the table, hitting them with the angles. You know what I mean? But if you're sitting up, and you have lighting, you take the time to make sure that your camera looks good and then people can see you and see the way that you're interacting and talking and stuff like that. Like, I would say that the value that brings to you, people being able to see your interactions, it helps with your connections so much. So much, You don't need the camera to stream, but I would say that for most people, like it's going to be easier to them to relate to and identify to your reactions if they can see you reacting,
There are a lot of things you don't need, but it almost always is a benefit. You can continue to supplement your stream by adding certain things.
Yeah.
And depending on your positioning of the camera, especially when I hop into your chat, Vince, you can see when their head turns towards chat and reads something out.
Yeah.
And then you start to associate that direction with they're talking to me. Sometimes they look right at the camera, and it's the same thing. You start to associate they're looking at me, they're talking to me. It's a connectivity thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Devin's doing it right now, and I'm getting uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but like
the
look at the camera thing that I do. I look at the camera in my stream very rarely. I look at my chat constantly, but like there's a couple of times, and I mean I do this with purpose. There's every now and then I look straight at my camera and I say something, and like when I do that, like I'm either getting really serious about something, or I'm like somebody is getting on my nerves a little bit, and I'm letting them have it. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
You know it's serious when you look at the camera.
Yeah. That's what we're coming. That's pretty much where we're at for sure. Is like those stages. So I very much, or when someone's flirting with you, that you're not wrong. I very much use like that tool with intent. It's not something that I do very often. And again, like make sure you use your tools properly when you use them for sure. Alex said, getting the confidence to use a camera was a hill I needed to get over. And I would definitely say yes. I definitely don't think I'm that pretty. You know what I mean? Most of my chat would disagree with me because...
Hey, you don't have to. We do.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I mean, that does wonders for my confidence. But at the same time, like we rated the best user, Alex, the other day. And by and large, every opinion that I got is that he's one of the best looking people that we know, and he's got a great accent on top of it.
Ooh.
Like, and you look at people like that, and you're like, how do these people not have the confidence to stream their cam? You know what I mean? And it's just those struggles are natural. Those feelings are natural. It's very common to not want to show your face on stream because you're worried that people are going to judge you. You're worried about what people are going to think about your room or looking at you or how you're feeling about yourself or whatever. And like the internet can be brutal sometimes, but at the same time, like how cool everyone is to me in my chat, how kind everyone is to me in my chat, and uplifting and throwing out compliments and stuff like that. That does wonders for my self-confidence. It does. You know what I mean? And like turning on the camera and coming out here has been genuinely one of the best things for my confidence. It's a huge boost every time I go in there and people are like, "What's up, cutie? How you doing?" I'm like, "Me? You mean me?" Like it's a great feeling. It feels incredible, But at the same time, like I know that like specifically like females on Twitch also have to deal with a lot of harassment, when they turn on a cam because of, what they're wearing that day or, what people think about their hair or how they dye it or the fact that they have piercings or tattoos or anything like that. Like people will take literally any opportunity to just be awful to other people if they think there's no consequence. So, you have to be prepared for both sides of that coin, unfortunately. The internet, by and large, has been the best and the worst thing about humanity in a long time. It's allowed for some incredible interactions and some incredible interconnectivity and learning and, all of these wonderful things. But at the same time, it is the breeding ground for bullying and negativity. It's where it festers. And it's unfortunate, but you have to prepare yourself for those kind of interactions. You have to, and I hate to say this, be ready to, have a thick skin about it and not let it get under your skin because these people are just going to be dicks and it is what it is. You can't change that about them. And also be ready to immediately just like deal with it. Like I've talked to my mods before. When people are arguing with me about something that's on stream or an opinion or something like that, like I tell people when it's enough. I'm like, okay, like we got to agree to disagree and just let it go, Yeah. And like I'll get to that point sometimes. But I've told my mods, if it is something that is clearly crossing the line, if something is clearly like discriminatory, racist, sexist, anything like that, like we don't deal with any of that. The second that you see that kind of behavior, it's done and it's over. So I think that like knowing where that line is, to be like, okay, this is clearly crossing that line. We cut it off, we let it go. And then knowing when it's like, just like banter or just people, being cool with you or whatever, like I think you got to be prepared for both sides for sure.
That bleeds out into not just for webcams, but any type, especially, competitive gaming.
Mm-hmm.
People, it's important to be passionate about what you're playing sometimes. And sometimes passion can lead to frustration. But the moment that turns into hateful speech or hateful comments, that needs to go immediately.
Yeah, you're completely right.
And I've talked to people who, I've been in groups where either I have to deafen in the Discord or I'll just leave because somebody's talking hatefully. And later somebody else will try to come to me and like, oh, they're just really passionate about this game. Not an excuse.
Yeah, no kidding.
You can be frustrated, hateful, no place for that in a streaming community.
Yeah.
Gotta get it out. Ban it immediately.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we've taken a lot of awesome questions. We talked about a lot of really cool stuff. This was a really fun episode. Rance, it has been an absolute pleasure having you here.
I loved being here.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I was so stoked when you asked to be on that one night. I was like, man, I've been waiting for this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been a few people like that for sure that we're just like, oh my gosh, I just like talking to them. I feel like I could talk to them for a long time. So, and I know that the chat definitely enjoyed your mustache. So thank you so much for being here. So Rance Prees, for anyone who wants to find more of you and your content whenever it is that you go live, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Rance Prees. You can find me on Twitch at Rance Prees. I'm on Instagram at Rance Prees. And I even have a YouTube channel that is dead, but coming back to life soon. That is also just Rance Prees. Rance Prees everywhere you go.
Awesome, perfect. We like the consistency.
Yes, sir.
Devin, for anybody who wants to find more of you and your content, where can they find you at?
You can find me at twitch.tv/DevinCronk. Then the Twitter's right there, Devin Cronk with 2 Ks. I'm also on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all kinds of stuff. It's the same name too. Devin Cronk, for the most part. Or sometimes he had 2 Ks at the end. It's a little tricky there, but that's it. How about you, Vince?
Well, for anyone who wants more of me and my content, you can find me right here on twitch.tv/justvince, Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and then we do the podcast every Saturday at 12 p.m. And feel free to hit up the Twitter at Vince0094 for anyone who wants to follow us or the podcast on Twitter. The links are there in the chat for you to follow, and we'll also have links to all of our socials, all of our channels, anything like that on the YouTube video as well. And also, Gotta make sure that we mention it. Feel free to send us an email over at gamingtonic1@gmail.com if you want to hear us cover a topic, talk about something in particular. You have questions, we would love to go over those. We want to hear from you guys and what you think about us, the podcast, content, gaming, anything and anything under the sun. I just said anything and anything. You love to see it. And also, if you haven't already, okay, and you want to be on the show, feel free to fill out an application right there. !GT app. You can come in and type that at any point in my Twitch chat if you want to link that way. Or also we will have the link to the application on the YouTube video as well. Or feel free to just hit us up on Discord and just talk to us about it, and we'll send you the form to fill out an application that way. And we would love to have you on the show. You guys got anything else for us before it's time to end here? Anything else you want to sign off with?
Nothing else here.
All right, awesome. It was so good again to have you on the show, Rance. Thank you so much, Devin. It is a pleasure as always. Everyone in the chat, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys for coming through. You have been absolutely awesome. We appreciate the support. We are 26 episodes deep into the podcast now, and we ain't slowing down. I love doing this. It's so fun. So thank you guys so much for being here, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And it is time for me to go play World of Warcraft. Take care, everybody.
Love you, bye.
Bye, friends.